Chapter 441. Dad isn't going to be weak forever. Green Tower, first floor. Pew Hut, sold out, meow. And starting today, I'll be selling new items, meow. After having breakfast and arriving at the Green Tower, Theo, who had sold out the auction, shouted, "New items? What could it be?" Theo's announcement piqued the interest not only of the Neta tribes, but also of the Immortal Clan members who worked as slaves in the store. The Immortal Clan members, though called slaves, were living a happier and more relaxed life than when they were organization members. Their slave salary was higher than when they were part of the organization, and they would buy some crops sold at Sejun's store with the salary they received. They would then take them to the upper floors to sell during their off hours, earning quite a decent side income. Thus, it was only natural that they showed interest in the new items Theo was selling, as everyone's attention was focused. "This is it, meow." Theo brought out the lightning-struck wood and the lightning stones. If the goods from the Golden Tower were only supplied to the Black Tower, their rarity would quickly diminish. That would lower the market price, so Theo, following Sejun's instructions, released some of the Golden Tower items in the Green Tower. And then, those are lightning-struck wood and lightning stones. Egil, the Saintess of Destruction, the 97th floor boss of the Green Tower, got excited seeing the 50 pieces of lightning-struck wood and 500 lightning stones Theo had taken out. The divine power Egil used was greatly influenced by the lightning attribute. Therefore, she had been looking for lightning-struck wood and lightning stones to make equipment to amplify her divine power. However, even with a lot of money, there were hardly any available, so she hadn't been able to gather the necessary amount for years. But now, Pew Hut, this isn't an auction, I will sell them at a fixed price, meow. A benefactor appeared who would sell a large quantity of lightning-struck wood and lightning stones right before her eyes. The lightning-struck wood is 15 billion tower coins, and the lightning stones are 400 million tower coins, meow. Theonim, I'll buy them all. Although the price was more than 50% higher than the Black Tower's market price, Egil had saved enough money, so she bought all the stock Theo brought. She bought far more than she needed for the equipment, but the rest could be used to make equipment for her subordinates. Meow. Thanks to this, Theo sold out all the lightning-struck wood and lightning stones he had planned to sell in the store. Pew Hut, today is an early day off, meow. I'll quickly go and boast to Chairman Park, meow. Theo returned to the 99th floor of the Black Tower with more than 1 trillion tower coins. Chairman Park, I'm back, meow. As soon as Theo quickly got out of his bag and threw himself towards Sejun's face. You're back early. Sejun caught Theo's body with his face. Pew Hut, Chairman Park, I, Vice Chairman Theo, sold all the items I took today, meow. I earned a lot of money, meow. You sold everything? Sejun asked as he grabbed Theo by the scruff of his neck and pulled him off his face. That's right, meow. Theo boasted, showing off the money pouch in his hand. Well done. Pew Hut, of course I'm good at this, meow. As Sejun petted Theo's head hanging on his knee. You can praise me more, meow. Theo said, rubbing his head vigorously against Sejun's hand. Thanks to this, Sejun took a short break while petting Theo's head. Abundance. Power abundance has been applied to the magical cherry tomatoes. The quantity of the next harvest of the magical cherry tomatoes has doubled. Sejun drank the red mugwort potion and used the power to increase the harvest of the cherry tomatoes. This was because the storage was empty after sending a large batch of cherry tomatoes to the Golden Tower. After increasing the production of cherry tomatoes, Blackie, let's have lunch. He called out to Blackie, who was playing with the destruction devourers nearby. Keikihili Kang. He, give me something delicious. Blackie hurried over at Sejun's call. Jump, jump, jump. Theo ate churu. Blackie, just wait a moment. Sejun unwrapped a convenience store triangular kimbap. Kang. Give me more. Feeding it into Blackie's mouth, They had their meal together. After finishing their meal, abundance, Sejun began to use his power to increase the soil's fertility. And then, Kiki, Kiki, the destruction devourers called for their leader. Kaying, what is it, subordinates? When Blackie went to where his subordinates were calling him. Kiki, the destruction devourers pointed to a fully purified core fragment they had absorbed the power of destruction from. Kekihili, Kaying, Kaying. Hee, well done, guys. Now let's go over there. I'll feed this to the butler later. Blackie, who had picked up the core fragment, led the destruction devourers to a field with strong energy of destruction. Western region of the 99th floor of the Black Tower. Kyung. It's medicinal herbs. Craig. Kyungi was digging up medicinal herbs to give to Sejun today. Kyungi spent the entire morning tending to or digging up medicinal herbs. Kyung. It's time for lunch. He took out a small, black three-tiered lunchbox that Sejun had packed for him from the snack pouch. The lunchbox was made by Aileen from Black Dragon Scales at Sejun's request and naturally had preservation and space expansion magic on it. Kyung. Hehe, I'm excited to see what Dad packed today. Clicking. With a happy face, Kyungi opened the lunchbox lid. Kyung. It's soy sauce butter bibimbap. The top tier was filled with soy sauce butter bibimbap, covered with dozens of soft-boiled eggs. The second tier was packed with pork cutlets, and the third tier was filled with sausages. Kyungi picked up a spoon with his right hand, scooped up the soy sauce butter bibimbap with egg yolk with his right hand, and put it in his mouth. Crunch. He grabbed an uncut pork cutlet with his left hand, dipped it in the sauce, and put it whole in his mouth. Kyung. Haha, it's delicious. Kyungi shook his bottom and danced a happy dance as he ate. A little while later. Kyung. Now it's time for dessert. Kyungi put the empty lunchbox back in the snack pouch and started eating a large 10L chocolate ice cream. And then, Kyung. Now I have to go for special training. After finishing the ice cream, Kyungi went to find the Minotaur King for special training. Kyung. Teacher, Kyungi is here. Moo. All right. The Minotaur King, who was waiting in advance, greeted Kyungi. Moo. Let's start right away. Draw up your energy. Kyung. At the Minotaur King's words, Kyungi shouted with determination and clenched his fists and drew up his energy. Moo. Draw up more. Kyung. Moo. More. Kyung. Guwu. When Kyungi had drawn up to 70% of the power he could exert, Kyungi felt his heart drop and instinctively let go of his power hurriedly. Moo. Again. Kyung. The Minotaur King made Kyungi draw up his energy again while watching him. But this time too, Kyungi couldn't exert his full power and released it midway. Moo. Again. Kyung. This is difficult. The Minotaur King fell into deep thought while watching his disciple Kyungi, who kept releasing his power before exerting his full strength. It was only a few days ago that the Minotaur King realized Kyungi wasn't exerting, or rather couldn't exert, his full strength. He had been teaching Kyungi how to overpower an enemy with energy, but strangely, Kyungi would release his power when it reached a certain level while drawing it up. Moo. Disciple, why do you release your power? The Minotaur King had a deep conversation with Kyungi about the strangeness. Kyung. I'm scared of hurting Dad when I draw up power. And he learned the reason. The fact that Sejun had fainted several times because of him had become a trauma for Kyungi. So Kyungi developed a habit of releasing his power whenever he felt it might harm Sejun. The fear of potentially hurting his dad was imprinted in Kyungi's subconscious, and whenever Kyungi drew up his power beyond a certain point, the subconscious fear made his body release the power, preventing Kyungi from using it. Moo. Again. Kyung. Today too, Kyungi was working hard in special training to break through his limit. Early morning. Kaying. I'm sleepy. Waking up from sleep, Blackie, with sleepy eyes, came outside and dig. Dug the ground hard to retrieve the purified core fragment he had hidden during the day. And then, hub, with the core fragment in his mouth, he climbed onto the bed. Kahiri put the core fragment into Sejun's mouth. Chomp, and pushed it in hard with both front paws. Then, gulp, the core fragment smoothly passed down Sejun's throat. Ahi. Sejun felt a brief pain, but since it was only 0.01%, the pain didn't last long. Keikihiri Kayang. He done. Satisfied, Blackie climbed onto Sejun's chest and fell asleep again, listening to Sejun's heartbeat. A few hours later. Blackie wake up ack. Sejun woke up from a nightmare of being crushed by a giant Blackie. And then, you have forcibly consumed a purified Fenrir's core fragment. You have absorbed a core fragment containing 0.01% of Fenrir's power. It combines with the power of the existing Fenrir's core fragment. 0.0129% of Fenrir's power accumulates in your body. He checked the messages. Is this Blackie's doing again? Keikirorong, Sejun said as he looked at Blackie sleeping on his chest. Sejun had asked Peacepiece to find out who was constantly feeding him the purified Fenrir's core fragments. Sejun knew it was Blackie, and discovered that Blackie was the culprit. Why is he feeding me this? Although Sejun didn't know what Blackie had done, the Fenrir's core fragments were something he couldn't consume alone due to usage restrictions. Since it also helped strengthen his power, it wasn't bad. I might as well get up. Even though the sun hadn't risen yet, it was a bit too late to go back to sleep. Swoosh. Meow. Suddenly feeling playful, Sejun got up and unwrapped Theo's front paws, which were hugging his knees, pulled out his knee and Kaying. Then he placed Blackie in that spot. I wonder how they'll react later. After watching the two sleeping embraced, Sejun went outside and was strolling around the farm when Kyung. From afar, he heard the sounds of Pinkfur and Kyungi's shouts. Normally, both of them should be asleep. What are they doing at this hour? Curious, Sejun walked towards the source of the sound. As he got closer, Kyung, Guwu. He saw Pinkfur and Kyungi shouting with effort and spreading their energy around. At that moment, achoo! Sejun sneezed, perhaps due to the cold air making his nose itchy. And then, Kyung, startled Kyungi, who was doing extra practice with Pinkfur early because yesterday's training results were poor, noticed Sejun had gotten quite close. This is bad. Mom is using her power. Dad will faint. Kyungi panicked. However, sorry, I sneezed suddenly, but what are you two doing? Sejun asked them in a calm voice. Kyung, Dad didn't faint. Big brother isn't here, but Dad withstood Mom's energy. Kyungi was shocked by this realization. Sejun was no longer the weak Sejun that Kyungi had been worried about. Especially after obtaining the power, sturdy young dragon's solid bones, his resistance to external energy had significantly increased. Of course, he was still the weakest and a sunfish on the 99th floor of the tower, but he was no longer so weak that he would faint from being exposed to strong energy. That's right, Dad isn't going to be weak forever. Dad is growing too. Thanks to this, Kyungi had a great realization. Kyung, Guwu. With the assurance that raising his power wouldn't hurt Sejun, Kyungi began to use 100% of his energy. An explosive energy burst out. The power that had been suppressed until now burst out at once. An energy much stronger than Kyungi originally possessed gushed out, and I feel like I'm going to faint. Sejun quickly retreated to avoid Kyungi's energy. Although he didn't faint, it was still painful. Thus, Kyungi magnificently overcame his trauma. The novice herbalist Kyungi Park, who gained enlightenment, has acquired the power, calm before the storm. Thunder, god of storms, is watching Kyungi Park. He gained a powerful ability and caught the attention of Thunder, god of storms. Chapter 442. Should I recruit him as an apostle of destruction? Combat Shop Headquarters. There isn't a warrior to my liking. Thunder, the god of storms, grumbled as he surveyed the warriors who had entered the tower. Unlike other gods of war, Thunder, who was especially proud, only sold weapons and skills to warriors he approved of. Then, a being who has awakened the power of the storm on their own and obtained power, calm before the storm, has appeared in the tower. A message appeared before Thunder. What? They obtained power, calm before the storm on their own. In his tens of thousands of years of life, he had never seen a talent who gained a power on their own through enlightenment. Where are they? Thunder hurriedly began to search for the warrior mentioned in the message, fearing that other war gods might snatch them away. Thus Thunder quickly sought out the warrior with power, calm before the storm, and found them. He found Kyungi on the 99th floor of the Black Tower. The rough energy and giant body that made one think they were born to be a warrior. You're the talent I've been searching for. Seeing Kyungi in person, Thunder became even more certain. You were born to be a warrior. Ha ha ha. I will train you to be the greatest warrior. I am Thunder, the god of storms. Warrior, what is your name? When Thunder asked Kyungi in a solemn voice. Thundernam, greetings. Kyungi's name is Kyungi Park. Nice to meet you. Kyungi, who had been well educated in manners, responded politely. All right, nice to meet you too. Kyungi Park, I'll specially give you the chance to buy my weapons and skills. True to his warrior nature, Thunder got straight to the point. He then showed his divine weapons and skills, but then give me a discount. Kyungi, who had learned from Sejun and Theo that items should be bargained for 3 times before buying, asked Thunder for a discount. What a discount? Hey now, a warrior should not disgrace themselves by haggling. It's okay, Kyungi isn't a warrior, Kyungi is an herbalist, so give me a discount. A herbalist? You have the ability to become the greatest warrior, but you're an herbalist. Kyungi Park, why are you wasting your talent? Quit being a herbalist immediately. Become the greatest warrior. Thundernam, you insulted herbalists. I won't talk to you anymore. Kyungi. Kyungi Park has blocked conversations for 3 days. Did I just get rejected? No way. Kyungi, you are destined to be a warrior. At Thunder's desperate cry, the sky darkened with storm clouds and a storm began. And then, rumble. Why did it suddenly get dark? I was almost done. Lee, who was focusing on crafting the divine relic for Sejun, looked outside. The sky was gloomy, as if a thunderbolt could fall at any moment. Did someone anger Thunder again? Lee muttered as she looked at the sky, then went back to crafting the divine relic. 99th floor of the Black Tower. Thundernam insulted herbalists. Thundernam is bad. Kyungi, who had blocked Thunder for belittling herbalists. Kyuihe, I should quickly brag to Dad. As Kyungi laughed and looked around to find Sejun, he saw Pinkfur and Sejun hiding behind Pinkfur. Pinkfur stood in front to block Kyungi's overwhelming aura, protecting the struggling Sejun. Kyung. Mom, Dad, Kyungi got a power. Kyungi can now control his strength. Kyung. Pinkfur tightly hugged Kyungi, who was proudly announcing his achievement. That's great, congratulations, my son. Sejun, who was exhausted from enduring Kyungi's energy release, congratulated Kyungi in a weak voice and checked the power Kyungi had obtained. Power, calm before the storm. Maintains a state of calm, compressing power without letting it leak, and then releases it all at once to amplify the power like a storm. The longer the state of calm is maintained, the greater the amplification due to the expansion of power when released. The maximum amplification is 100 times. Well, Kyungi is so lucky. Sejun sighed with envy as he examined the power. It was a power that could amplify strength by compressing energy, storing it up, and releasing it at the desired moment. I wish I could store up energy too. While Sejun was enviously looking at Kyungi. Growl. A loud sound came from Kyungi's stomach. Since he had been up since dawn for special training, he was hungrier than usual. Kyung. Dad, Kyungi is hungry. All right, let's eat. Hee. I'll also throw a party to celebrate obtaining your power later tonight. As Sejun planned the party for the evening, he began to take out food in front of Kyungi and Pinkfur. He gave Pinkfur 100 pieces each of pizza, hamburgers, and chicken. It wasn't enough to make them full, but just enough to taste. The rest was managed by using the crop gigantification skill to provide quantity. And then, here, this is for Kyungi. Kyung. So excited, it's jjajangmyeon and tangsuk. Kyungi and Sejun ate jjajangmyeon and tangsuk for breakfast. While the three of them were enjoying their breakfast, Hayak, Kayak, they heard the angry cries of Theo and Blackie from the direction of the house. Ifda. Looks like they just woke up. Sejun burst into laughter, imagining Theo and Blackie surprised by each other's faces. A little later, Chairman Park, I missed you, meow. Theo, who had used meow meow step to find Sejun, appeared in an instant and clung to Sejun's face. Grab. Meow. As Sejun grabbed Theo's neck from his face and put him on his knee. Thump. Kaying. Hey, take care of me too, huh? Did you eat delicious food without me? Blackie, who was late, also ran towards Sejun, barking angrily. You can eat too. When Sejun stuffed a piece of tangsuk into Blackie's mouth. Hee. Blackie immediately started laughing. Hee, easy fellow. Sejun also smiled as he continued eating, giving Theo some churro. Merchant Passage, connecting the 70th and 80th floors of the Black Tower. I must find Fenrirnum quickly. Unlike other apostles of destruction, Kruger's fragment had infiltrated again to inform that the apostles of destruction were targeting Fenrir. But no matter how much he searched the tower, he couldn't find any clues about Fenrir. At that moment, Pio. Kuik. Piat and Urin, singing happily, passed by Kruger, who was disguised as a rock. The two were tracking down those who had swindled Urin's money again today. They're Fenrirnum's companions. If I follow them, I should be able to meet Fenrirnum, right? Kruger, recognizing the two, cautiously tailed them. And then, what's with that guy? Kruger, who was following the two, was greatly surprised by Urin, who seemed to find only places with robbers, traps, and other apostles of destruction. Incredible talent. If that guy was thrown into a normal dimension, it seemed he could easily destroy a planet by attracting all sorts of misfortunes without even having to send calamities. Should I recruit him as an apostle of destruction? Later, Kruger thought to recommend Urin as a candidate for apostle of destruction while continuing to follow the two. Then, thump. Unable to get a rest for a moment, the two disappeared into Jormungandr's mouth. Expected, he's a talent. Kruger hid himself and waited for the two to come out. Seed Shop Headquarters. Finally, it's complete. Lee, god of abundance, cheered as she finished creating the divine relic. And then, my believer. She called the ungrateful believer king of farming, who hadn't been praying often lately, and made him go find Sejun to deliver the relic. Although there were other ways to send the divine relic, Lee deliberately sent the king of farming to the 99th floor of the tower. She absolutely didn't have any ill feelings. It's only through such hardships that faith grows. Indeed, that's right. Well, maybe just a little bit. Thus, Lee imposed the tremendous ordeal of going to the 99th floor of the tower on the king of farming. Shall I go see hell after all these years? Lee left her quarters and went to a secluded corner of the Seed Shop headquarters. In the corner was a small side door. When Lee opened the side door and stepped outside, she saw a splendid building made of gold. A small, splendid building nestled between the large, magnificent combat shop headquarters and the large, shabby siege shop headquarters. Slide. When Lee opened the door of the building made of gold and went inside. Why do you keep offering money, Theo, you fool? She saw a blonde woman fuming with anger. Hell, what's going on? Lee hurriedly asked Hell, recognizing the familiar name. Lee, what brings you here? Did you come to borrow some divine power? No, we are now earning our own divine power. Really? Congratulations. Thank you. But how are you earning it? Oh, that's... Lee explained the process by which she obtained the divine power. What? That rascal Park Sejun is building temples for you. Yes, Hell, do you know Park Sejun? Of course I know him. He's the wicked guy exploiting the naive Theo. What? Park Sejun is exploiting Theo? Yeah, Lee, listen to me. That rascal Park Sejun. Hell, her face red with anger, started to complain to Lee. Hell, god of merchants, cherished talented merchants. To Hell, Theo was an oddball. Initially, she thought Theo had no talent, but soon he began making money with remarkable skill. At first, she found it endearing that Theo, who seemed untalented, grew into an excellent merchant. However, seeing Theo offering all his earnings to Sejun, a farmer, made her uncomfortable. She was sure that the rascal Park Sejun was exploiting Theo by sweet-talking him. Otherwise, it didn't make sense for a merchant to give all his money away. Moreover, she became even more enraged seeing him use Theo to exploit Urin and Mimir, whom she cherished, as subordinates. Thus, during the legendary merchant exam, she even interfered by making them obtain impossible ingredients to prevent further exploitation. But Park Sejun, showing off, provided Theo with the necessary ingredients, ultimately making Theo a legendary merchant. He was now extending his evil clutches to other towers and exploiting even more severely. Hell didn't like how Sejun was exploiting the legendary merchants. Hell, you're misunderstanding. Park Sejun is a kind and capable farmer, and it would be good for you to side with Park Sejun too. What? Park Sejun a kind guy? That can't be true, but even if it were, I'm the god of merchants. I have my pride. How can I, the god of merchants, side with a farmer? Does pride put food on the table? As the god of merchants, you should know better. Helping during tough times brings greater rewards. Park Sejun is someone who will become great. He's still in the baby step stage. You have to grab to him before he takes off. Lee strongly defended Sejun and tried to persuade Hell. If Hell stepped in, it would be a great help to Sejun. I'll have to tell Park Sejun later that I persuaded her. Lee, hopping to receive an even larger temple from Sejun, spoke more fervently. Really? It seemed Lee's persuasion was working, as Hell began to ponder. Yes, trust me and invest in him a little. If Lee is so insistent, maybe I'll invest a little. The god of abundance is the one who governs prosperity. If she was this insistent, it was worth doing. A farmer, this should be good. Hell took a glass vial containing the harvest elixir from the items displayed on the wall. Yes, that would be great. Lee nodded with a smile. The growth elixir Hell possessed was an item Lee had pawned while borrowing divine power, but had failed to reclaim on time. The wall was full of items that other gods had put up as collateral and lost for failing to repay divine power. Legendary merchant Theo, receive my item and deliver it to Park Sejun. Hell sent 10 drops of the harvest elixir to Theo. And then, Black Tower's legendary merchant Theo Park demands more, saying 10 drops are too stingy. What stingy? This guy is too shameless. Was he really being exploited by Park Sejun? Hell, who had felt sorry for Theo, began to doubt him. Chapter 443, Theo Park, you scoundrel. Meow meow meow. Theo was spending a blissful time lying on Sejun's lap before going to work. At that moment, Hell, god of merchants, bestows 10 drops of harvest elixir. A message sent by Hell appeared before Theo. Even though 10 drops of harvest elixir were worth nearly 1 trillion tower coins. Meow. Not enough, meow. Frowning at the small glass bottle held in his front paw, Theo was displeased. Theo had always disliked how the great Chairman Park struggled over getting a few drops of harvest elixir. Pew hut. Hell, god of merchants, nice to meet you, meow. Then it's a battle, meow. I will defeat you with the skills passed down by the great Chairman Park, meow. Suddenly burning with competitiveness, he challenged Hell to a match. Stingy meow, give me more meow. It was Vice Chairman Theo's pestering technique, adapted from Chairman Park's secret technique of haggling 3 times. So he used his secret technique to pester for more. He did not make any sound outwardly. It was to show off to Sejun after he defeated Hell, god of merchants. Then, Hell, god of merchants, gets angry and says that you have been so exploited by Park Sejun that you have lost your sense, and 10 drops of harvest elixir are more than enough. Hell responded angrily. Did you just disrespect the great Chairman Park, meow? Moreover, Chairman Park doesn't exploit me, meow. Furious at Hell for calling Sejun a bad person, Theo's chest burned with anger. Who was it that gave me grilled fish and churu when I was just a worthless wandering merchant cat who had been scammed, meow? Who was it that offered their lap, meow? Who was it that made me a legendary merchant, meow? It was none other than the great and glorious Chairman Park, meow. And you dare insult such a great Chairman Park, meow. Unforgivable, meow. Huck, you've done terribly wrong, so sign this contract, meow. Theo, fuming with anger, pulled out a slave contract. Of course, the slave contract Theo brought out didn't get delivered to Hell. How can there be a guy like this? It was enough to startle Hell. What being would dare to present a slave contract for a god to sign? Could it be that Park Sejun is just a puppet chairman, and this cat is the real mastermind? While Hell was suspecting Theo as the mastermind. I'll punish you, meow, but how should I punish you, meow? Theo was pondering how to punish Hell, god of merchants. Meow, that's it, meow. I'll impeach Hell, god of merchants, meow. Since he couldn't punish the other party because they were a god, he decided to first make them step down from being a god. And then, Black Tower's legendary merchant Theo Park attempts to impeach Hell, god of merchants. Slaves Black Tower's legendary merchant Mimmer and Black Tower's legendary merchant Urine automatically agree with Black Tower's legendary merchant Theo Park's opinion. A legendary merchant's vote counts as 2 votes. 3 legendary merchants of the Black Tower agree to impeach Hell, god of merchants, resulting in 6 votes in favor. 6 votes, which is over 25% of the total 20 votes, are in favor of impeaching Hell, god of merchants. Voting for the impeachment of Hell, god of merchants begins. If 5 more votes are cast in favor within a year, Hell, god of merchants, will be impeached. In an instant, the impeachment vote for Hell began. You crazy bastard, what did I do wrong for you to impeach me? Hell, god of merchants, was dumbfounded. But at the same time, she felt an immense sense of crisis. There are 16 legendary merchants in the 9 towers, 4 in the Black Tower and 12 in other towers. But what if Theo makes the remaining Black Tower's legendary merchant his slave, and goes to other towers to make 3 more legendary merchants his slaves? I'll really be impeached. Hell, god of merchants, pleads you to cancel the impeachment in exchange for all the harvest elixir she has. Give it quickly, meow. Pew hut, I won, meow. Hell hurriedly transferred all the harvest elixir she had to Theo. Hell, god of merchants, bestows 45 drops of harvest elixir. And then, Pew hut, I will cancel it, meow. Theo canceled the impeachment of Hell. Hell, god of merchants, thanks you. Thus, the tables turned between Hell and Theo. Pew hut, now pay the price for slandering the great Chairman Park, meow. The final part of the pestering technique was left, meow. Theo ramped up his efforts for the last pestering. Hell, god of merchants, complains that the harvest elixir she just gave is already of tremendous value. Pew hut, then it's impeachment meow. Theo, who could always exercise 6 votes including Mimmer and Urin's votes. Black Tower's legendary merchant Theo Park attempts to impeach Hell, god of merchants. He could start an impeachment vote that could impeach Hell at any time. Hell, god of merchants, sighs and says that this is really precious. So Theo was the mastermind after all. Finally realizing the situation, Hell, with a tearful face, sent an item from her closet to Theo. Hell, god of merchants, bestows the thunder, god of storms, divine relic thunderbolt staff. Pew hut, negotiation successful meow. Although it was clearly a case of threats and intimidation, Theo proudly called it a negotiation, a statement that would have made Hell feel unjustly treated if she had heard it. Pew hut, Chairman Park, look at this meow. Theo handed Sejun the glass vial containing 55 drops of harvest elixir and a golden metal staff he received from Hell. This is harvest elixir, 55 drops, and this is a divine relic. Vice Chairman Theo, where did you suddenly get these? Sejun asked in great surprise when Theo, who had been playing on his lap, suddenly handed over such amazing items. Thunderbolt staff. A divine relic used by Thunder, god of storms, in battle. It contains the first thunderbolt and can harness the power of lightning at will. When placed where lightning strikes, it absorbs the lightning to recharge its power. Current charge, 10%. Usage restriction, those with power calm before the storm. Creator Thunder, god of storms. Grade. It seemed that the divine relic Thunderbolt staff was made especially for Kyungi, who uses clubs. Pew hut, I won against someone called Hell and received these meow. Hell? Yes meow, Hell is the god of merchants meow. Really? But since she's a god, you should call her Hellnim out of respect. He, considering she gave such nice things, attaching a nim to her name is the least we can do. Got it meow, I will call her Hellnim from now on meow. As expected of Theo, who listened well to Sejun, immediately changed the way he addressed Hell. I should make something for Hellnim. She gave such amazing things, but Hell Road feels a bit lacking. Sejun contemplated a new temple for Hell, and all right, this time let's go with a monument this time, land moving. Sejun used his hoe to erect a 3-meter-tall monument next to the Creator God's tablet. Hell Monument. Hell, god of merchants, who gave us 55 drops of harvest elixir and the divine relic Thunderbolt staff. She was a god who knew business ethics. He inscribed Hell's achievements in words in front of the monument. At that moment, Hell, who had been extorted of immensely valuable items by due to Theo's threats. Lee, it's all your fault. I got totally extorted by Theo. Theo, you scoundrel. Hell yelled in frustration at Lee, who had encouraged her to invest in Sejun. Hell, just wait a little. I'm telling you, Park Sejun will do something. No, as long as that scoundrel Theo is around, I'm doomed. Soon, Theo will extort everything and I'll end up a beggar. Hoo-ha. As Hell was crying and whining to Lee, Park Sejun, the tower farmer of the Black Tower, has built a temple for you. Divine power increases by 100. The amount of divine power gained doubles due to receiving the Creator God's blessing, as the temple's location is next to the Creator God's tablet. 10,000 mushroom ants, tenant farmers of Park Sejun, the tower farmer of the Black Tower, have seen your temple. Divine power increases by 2. The third apostle of creation, Blackie Park, has seen your temple. Divine power increases by 4. 100,000 Calamity Guardian Destruction Devourers have seen your temple. Divine power increases by 1,000. Messages appeared. Unlike with the roads, the monument increased divine power just by being seen, without needing to be stepped on. What's this? At the same time, an enormous amount of divine power entered Hell's body, making her body shine brightly. See, I told you investing in Park Sejun was a good idea, right? Phew, I'm saved. Park Sejun, I knew I could trust you. Lee, who had been slightly anxious, sighed in relief and asked Hell boastfully. Yes, Park Sejun is the best. What incredible divine power. Hell, who had stopped whining by now, gave a thumbs up and grinned widely. And the returns on investment are quite impressive. Hell started rummaging through items to invest in Sejun, while mentally calculating with an abacus. Sejun, who had obtained 55 drops of harvest elixir. I should use this harvest elixir on. I should use it on harvest elixir on the thick darkness cherry, sunflower seed, and sundried red pepper. The thick darkness cherry and sunflower seed were to restore the power of darkness and light to the black dragon and white dragon, respectively. If I bring 10,000 sundried red peppers to the White Tower, they'll tell me the location of the sealed sun, right? The sundried red peppers were to bring daytime to the White Tower, which only had night. Thus, Sejun used 20 drops on the thick darkness cherry, 20 drops on the sunflower seed, and 15 drops on the sundried red pepper. You have harvested sundried red peppers. By evening, he harvested 30,000 sundried red peppers. After a while, all right, Ajax, are you ready? The White Tower's slave says he's currently with Grandpa in the White Tower's administrator area. Since Sejun couldn't meet Ajax due to his awakening, so he sent Ajax to the administrator's area. Okay, move. Upon hearing Ajax's response, Sejun used Waypoint to move to the 99th floor of the White Tower. And then, you have arrived on the 99th floor of the White Tower. The surrounding area is filled with magic power. Sejun was exposed to the immense magic power emitted by Ajax to cultivate the elixir, cherry tomato imbued with powerful magic power. In the past, Sejun would have struggled even to breathe, but, oh, I feel energized. Now, he had reached a level where he could leisurely enjoy such an environment. The efficiency of talent, accumulating magic circuit increases, accelerating the speed of accumulating magic power. Magic power accumulates permanently by 0.1 every 3 hours. Thanks to this, the speed of accumulating magic power also increased. Then shall I take them out? Sejun took out 10,000 sundried red peppers from the leather pouch tied to his waist. Then, you have brought 10,000 sundried red peppers to the White Tower. The quest has been completed. You have received 5 drops of harvest elixir as a quest completion reward. 10,000 sundried red peppers burn brightly to find the location of the sun sealed in the White Tower. With the message, the sundried red peppers began to burn vigorously, brightening the surroundings. After about 10 minutes, the location of the sun sealed in the White Tower has been found. The sealed sun is on the 67th floor of the tower. A message appeared and a quest has been generated. Subsequently, a quest appeared saying that breaking the sun's seal would achieve a great accomplishment. The reward was 10 drops of harvest elixir. Let's head back for now. Since he first needed to find the land deed for the 67th floor of the White Tower, Sejun returned to the Black Tower and spent 3 days in his ordinary routine. The first floor of the 10th tower. Huff huff, so persistent. After fighting Flamey for 5 days, Stella, who had no decisive blow to completely subdue the infinitely recovering Flamey, was exhausted. Are you going to continue? I can fight for another 100 days. Hurry up and take back what you said about my master. Huff huff, all right. I take back what I said about Park Sejun, I take it back. In the end, exhausted and unable to move, Stella surrendered to Flamey, who had been strangling her with roots. To be precise, no matter how much Flamey strangled her, it did no damage, but Stella just surrendered because it was annoying. Thus, Flamey who had obtained Stella's surrender. But who is that person? She asked, looking at the man who had been watching her and Stella while eating popcorn for a while. Chapter 444. How about Eamdal then? First floor of the 10th tower. Me. Can you see me? When the man eating popcorn pointed at his own face, in response to Flamey's question. Yes, you. Nod, nod. Flamey shook its roots up and down. Is someone there? Stella asked, focusing on the direction Flamey's roots were pointing. But there's nothing there. Stella couldn't see anything. You're not teasing me because you won, are you? Stella glared fiercely at Flamey. What, can't you see the person eating popcorn over there? Flamey said, sounding frustrated. Popcorn, what's popcorn? Popcorn is made when you apply heat to stamina corn grown by the master, and the inside bursts. Huh. How are you eating the master's popcorn? Did you steal my master's crops? Flamey, who was explaining popcorn to Stella, became angry and showed hostility towards the man. Don't misunderstand, I didn't steal it, but it's impressive that you can see me. Is it because you're Park Sejun's tree who cleared the 10th Tower's trial? The man hurriedly explained, seemingly wanting to clear up the misunderstanding. Huh, that voice is the administrator. Stella reacted to the man's familiar voice. Yes, let me formally introduce myself. When the man turned off the observer mode, a man with brown hair holding popcorn appeared in Stella's eyes. I am Hamer, the administrator of the 10th Tower and the god of farming. When Hamer introduced himself to the two, Oh, are you really Hamer Nim? Flamey looked at Hamer as if she was looking at a celebrity. Ho ho, yes, I am Hamer, the god of farming. As Hamer felt proud due to Flamey's attitude. Hamer Nim, quickly acknowledge my master's farming skills. If Hamer Nim acknowledges, then master only need Patrick Nim's recognition. Flamey grabbed Hamer's legs with her roots and started pleading him to quickly acknowledge Sejun. No, I can't acknowledge him so easily. Why not? My master is really good at farming. Of course I know that. Hamer, being the god of farming, already knew well about the farming skills of Sejun, the tower farmer. Then why don't you acknowledge my master? This is a sacred test of the gods. It can't be rushed. There are procedures to follow. But, hey now, I said wait. Hamer shouted loudly at Flamey. Park Sejun, the popcorn is running low. Harvest the stamina corn. He started fulfilling his selfish desires while giving Sejun a quest. And then, Lee Nim recognized him right away though. Flamey looked at Hamer with suspicious eyes. It seemed like Flamey might hit Hamer soon. Morning at the 99th floor of the Black Tower. Theo went to work at the Green Tower, and Kyungi went to tend herbs in the Western Forest, and you have planted destruction, devourer seeds in the magic-infused land. Sejun was planting the destruction, devourer seeds that he had collected so far. And then, Kilahit Kaying. He, guys, follow the leader. Kiki. Blackie, who was playing the leader role with the destruction devourers under the pretext of protecting Sejun, was doing so again today. As Sejun was planting seeds. Chairman Park, I'm back, meow. At lunchtime, Theo, who had sold out all the goods at the Green Tower, returned. Vice Chairman Theo, good job. Pew Hut, of course I did a good job, meow. Theo emphasized how hard he had worked, as if he had been waiting for Sejun's words. Praise me quickly, meow. It was to receive praise from Sejun. Yes, our vice chairman did a great job. Sejun gave Theo some churu and petted his belly as he climbed onto his lap. Pew Hut. Slurp slurp slurp. As Theo began to eat the churu with a bright smile, in response to Sejun's praise. Kaying. Hey, what about me? Give me food too. Blackie, who had been playing the leader role, hurriedly ran over and sat in front of Sejun. Here, Blackie, you get some dried sweet potatoes. Kilahit. Chomp. After feeding the two, Sejun also took out a few convenience store triangular kimbap and started eating them one by one. At that moment, Kilahit. Blackie quickly ran away with a triangle kimbap that hadn't been unwrapped yet. Hey, it's dangerous if you eat the plastic wrap. Sejun hurriedly tried to stop him, but Kilahit Kaying. I'm going to unwrap and eat it myself, and the great Blackie can digest anything. Ignoring Sejun's words, Blackie ran away quickly. But then, flailing, kaying, Blackie, who was running hard, suddenly realized he was running in midair. And then, bang crackle, he saw Kyungi slowly approaching him, hitting his own front paws with the thunderbolt staff. Caught in Kyungi's telekinesis, Blackie couldn't move in midair. Kyung, Blackie, are you ready to get a taste of justice? Blackie shook his head vigorously in response to Kyungi's question. Kyung, then handed over. When Kyungi extended his front paw, kaying, Blackie reluctantly spat out the triangular kimbap with a regretful face. Thus, Blackie's attempt at stealing the triangular kimbap ended in failure. If you wanted to eat it, you should have just asked. Blackie listened to Sejun's nagging. Kaying, I wanted to unwrap it myself. Oh, is that so? Then go ahead and try. Realizing why Blackie had tried to take the triangular kimbap, Sejun handed it to Blackie to let him unwrap it. Kilahit Kaying. He, the great Blackie will unwrap it. Excited with Sejun's permission, Blackie began unwrapping the triangular kimbap. But, Russell, Blackie's mouth structure made it too difficult to unwrap the triangular kimbap's packaging. Moreover, every time Blackie, who had dragon teeth, applied a bit too much force, small holes appeared in the triangular kimbap. Kaying, damn it, why isn't this working? Blackie got irritated when the packaging wouldn't unwrap, even after struggling for a while. Fine, I'll just eat it whole. As Blackie was about to take a big bite of the triangular kimbap with the wrap still on. Kyueha Kyuung. It's easy if you unwrap it step by step from the first part. Kyungi, who was watching Blackie while unwrapping and eating his own triangular kimbap effortlessly, said. Kyung. No, you can't do that. Kyungi lightly swung his thunderbolt staff to stop Blackie. Thwag crackle. Kakeed. Blackie, struck by the thwack, Crackle shivered and convulsed. That's why you should just eat what I have unwrapped for you. Why are you being so stubborn? As Sejun was looking at Blackie pitifully. A quest has been triggered. Quest, harvest 1 million stamina corns and get recognized for your farming skills by Hamer, god of farming. Stamina corn, 1 million. Reward, recognition from Hamer, god of farming, 1 drop of enhancing elixir. Hamer's quest appeared. Hamer has the power, Harvest Thanksgiving, which allows him to receive 1% of the crops harvested by tower farmers. Therefore, to replenish his diminishing popcorn supply, he issued a quest to Sejun to harvest the stamina corn. 1 million. It was a large number, but for Sejun, who harvested tens of thousands of crops daily, it wasn't much. Maybe it'll take about 3 months. It was just a matter of time. You have harvested stamina corn. After having lunch, Sejun spent the afternoon harvesting corn. He did not use the 5 drops of harvest elixir he received upon completing the White Tower's quest on the corn. Each corn seed produced only about 20 ears of corn, and since corn is an annual plant, it had to be harvested by cutting down the entire stalk, making the use of harvest elixir extremely inefficient compared to other crops. 3 hours later. Guys, clean it. Moo. The black minotaurs began to happily eat the remaining corn stalks in the harvested cornfield. And then, you have planted stamina corn seeds in magic-infused soil. After the black minotaurs cleaned up the cornfield, Sejun started planting corn again. While Sejun was busy planting corn, kiki. Suddenly, the destruction devourers, sensing something, began running in one direction. Kaying. Guys, where are you going? Blackie, who had been playing on top of the destruction devourers, naturally moved along with them. Thus, Blackie went on another unintentional adventure. The merchant corridor, connecting the 90th and 99th floors of the Black Tower. Pio. Ur and Nim were almost there. Hang in there. Yes. Piat, sitting on Yurin's shoulder, cheered him on. They were moving to the 99th floor to deliver the money they had collected to Theo. And then, are we finally going to see Fenrir Nim? Kruger, who had been secretly following them for several days, was filled with anticipation at the thought of meeting Blackie. But, stop, hand over everything you have. As expected, Yurin's misfortune didn't disappoint. A robber appeared and blocked their path. Pio, Yurin Nim, this is really getting tiresome. Head sorry. Pio. Forget it, let's deal with them quickly. Okay. Piat flew swiftly toward the robbers, with Yurin following closely behind. Can we just get going already? Kruger, also annoyed, moved the ground slightly to catch the robber's foot, assisting in the battle. Although he didn't want to help, he had no choice but to intervene to avoid further delays. A little while later. Pio. Stamp here. Piat smiled and received the robber's stamps after subduing them. Following Theo's example, no matter how long it took, he always made sure to turn anyone who attacked him into a slave. Thanks to this, Sejun's stats continued to rise even when Theo was resting due to his title, Slave King. As they finished getting all the stamps and were about to move again. Rumble! A massive number of destruction devourers approached. And then, Kilahit Kang. The great Blackie is here. Blackie barked arrogantly from atop the destruction devourers. Pio? What's this? Piat and Yurin were puzzled as they watched Blackie and the destruction devourers. Kiki. The destruction devourers surrounded Kruger, who had been in disguise. Sensing the aura of destruction emanating from Kruger's fragment, they had come rushing. Burp. Nearly 2 million destruction devourers began to absorb Kruger's aura. Rumble. Kruger had no choice but to reveal himself. Kang. Kruger. Blackie barked upon recognizing Kruger. Fenrir Nim, this is bad. Other apostles of destruction are. Kruger, seeing Blackie, hurriedly tried to convey that other apostles of destruction were targeting him. Kang. Hey, quickly take out your core. Blackie shouted at Kruger. Crunch. Without a moment's hesitation, Kruger's fragment put his hand into his chest and removed the core at Blackie's command. Kang. Throw it over there. True to his loyalty as a subordinate of Fenrir, Kruger threw his core to the destruction devourers, causing his rocky body to collapse as his power faded. Pio. The apostle of destruction has fallen on his own. Piat, who had been watching while recovering his strength to fight Kruger, exclaimed. We got lucky this time. Pio. Yurin Nim, don't say things like that. It's irritating. Sorry. As Piat and Yurin were feeling relieved looking at Kruger, who had suddenly collapsed on his own. Kang. Blackie went into the cracks of the fallen rock that was Kruger's body and came out carrying something on his back. To be carried on Fenrir Nim's back, it's truly an honor. Kruger, now the size of a thumb due to his lost power, spoke in a voice full of emotion. Kang. Kruger, from now on, call me the Great Blackie Nim. Yes, Great Blackie Nim. Thus, Kruger joined the 99th floor of the Black Tower, not knowing that he would soon receive a new name from Sejun. A little while later. Nice to meet you. You don't have a name. How about Eamdal then? Since you're the size of a thumb, let's call you Eamdal. TL. Sejun's bad naming sense strikes again. Basically, it's a combination of thumb and stone, so the literal translation would be thumb stone. How dare you call Kruger, the seventh seed of the apostles of destruction and the destroyer of mountains, Eamdal? Should I kill him? Can I kill this guy? Kruger sought permission from Blackie with his eyes. And then, Kang. Eamdal, bow your head. When Sejun wasn't around, Eamdal, who was dragged away by Blackie, received a severe scolding. Chapter 445. Run away, Theo is a scoundrel. Black Tower, 99th floor. All right. As Sejun woke up and opened his eyes, the seal of the Earth's jewel has been broken. Fossil, the god of fossils who was sealed in the Earth's jewel, is released from the seal. TL. Like in the previous cases, the name Fossil is in English and God of Fossils is in Korean. Fossil, the god of fossils, repays the favor to the one who released his seal. Fossil, the god of fossils, buries a fossil he cherished in a 3.3 square meters area of land to repay his benefactor. Messages appeared. A fossil. It obviously won't be a gem, and it's not something to eat either. He didn't expect much at all. But I still have to check. Meow. Kaying. Sejun got up, taking Theo and Blackie. For reference, Eamdal was sleeping, clinging to Blackie's fur. Swish. Marking the date on the wall, Sejun started the 421st day morning. So where might the fossil be? Sejun went outside and wandered around the farm to find where the fossil was buried, but I can't see it. The fossil was buried in the ground, so there was no sign of it from the outside. But he couldn't dig up all the land where crops were planted just to find the fossil. Why did you bury it in the ground, making it hard to find? Fossil Nim gets 0 square meters. Thus, the first god who repaid the favor but didn't receive a temple was born. A little later. Kyung. Dad, good morning. Gurgle. Kyungi gave a morning greeting along with a loud stomach growl, and wait a moment. Sejun hurriedly prepared breakfast. All right, let's eat. Today he simplified the menu with grilled fish. Pughu Hut, Chairman Park is at a grilled fish party today. Thanks to this, Theo was even more excited than usual, seeing the pile of grilled fish in front of him. And then, meow, why isn't Eamdal eating grilled fish, meow? Theo asked Eamdal, who was standing idly next to Blackie. Me, I usually don't eat. Eamdal, whose body was made of rock, didn't need to eat. He could just absorb things around him to grow when he wanted to. However, meow, what nonsense you are saying when you have a mouth, meow. Join the grilled fish party quickly, meow. Theo, who didn't like that Eamdal wasn't participating in the grilled fish party, forcibly put a small piece of grilled fish into Eamdal's mouth. Eamdal tried to refuse, but Theo's front paws were incredibly fast, and Eamdal was surprised when grilled fish suddenly entered his mouth. Pughu Hut, Eamdal, how is it, meow? It's delicious. Why is it delicious? No, before that, why can I taste it? Eamdal answered in a voice filled with both joy and confusion. Unbeknownst to Eamdal, Blackie had created a new core for him with the power of creation, replacing his lost core. And that gave Eamdal the ability to taste. Pughu Hut, of course, meow. It's delicious because it's grilled fish made with Chairman Park's sincerity, meow. Eat more, meow. Feeling proud to have introduced Eamdal to the delicious taste of grilled fish, Theo placed a whole grilled fish in front of him. Kilahit Kaying. Hee, Eamdal, eat this too. Blackie also sneakily passed Eamdal the parts he found annoying to eat. So everyone enjoyed their grilled fish. Chairman Park, I, Vice Chairman Theo, I'm going to work, meow. Kyung. Dad, Kyungi is also going to work too. Theo and Kyungi each set off to their respective workplaces. Kilahit Kaying. Hee, hey, I'm going to work too. Eamdal, let's go. Yes. Although they were just going to play with the destruction devourers nearby, Blackie also claimed he was going to work, dragging Eamdal along. All right, have a good day at work. Sejun responded to Blackie's words and began planting the destruction devourer seeds. First floor of the Green Tower. Pughu Hut, Neta tribes, I have arrived, meow. Theo, having arrived at the Green Tower, announced his arrival. Let's start the auction, meow. I'll sell quickly and return to Chairman Park, meow. To leave early, Theo immediately began auctioning off the crops he brought. And then, all sold out, meow. Once again, Theo, the sellout king, easily sold out all the crops. Pughu Hut, As expected, I Vice Chairman Theo am excellent meow. As Theo was feeling proud, putting his front paws on his waist. Theonym. Meow, Egil, why did you call me meow? Egil, the saintess of destruction and boss of the 97th floor of the Green Tower, approached Theo. I think I'll have to return to the 97th floor of the tower soon. Meow, what's the matter, meow? Could she be running away, meow? Theo looked at Egil with a fierce expression. Actually, Egil began to explain the reason. Fortunately, it wasn't about running away. Recently, a force that had come up from the 93rd floor of the tower was encroaching on Egil's territory, so she was planning to go to war. In the past, Egil would have opted to invade the 93rd floor of the tower herself, but recently the forces on the 93rd floor had grown too strong. Pew hut, Egil, don't worry, meow. I Vice Chairman Theo will solve it, meow. Theo hurriedly shouted after hearing Egil's story. Not because he wanted to solve an employee's problem as vice chairman, but meow, I remembered, meow. He recalled what the immortal clan members had said about the real power on the 93rd floor of the tower. He couldn't miss the opportunity to acquire a large number of slaves. Moreover, Pew hut, this time it's going to be a teamwork between Chairman Park and me, Vice Chairman Theo, meow. Theo was excited at the thought of going to the 93rd floor with Sejun to make many slaves. Quickly get the land deed for the 93rd floor of the tower, meow. He sent out members of the immortal clan to get the land deed for the 93rd floor of the Green Tower. As Theo was about to leave after arranging for the land deed. Theonym, I know a merchant who has many land deeds. Should I call him? He's on the 35th floor of the tower, so he should be here soon. Agni asked Theo. Pew hut, call him, meow. The more land deeds, the better, meow. Theo postponed his return home at the words that the merchant would arrive soon. 3 hours later, the merchant Agni had called still hadn't arrived. Thanks to this, Theo's return time was greatly delayed. Meow. It's taking too long, meow. It was long past the time to return to Sejun's lap, so he became very irritated. At that moment, Agninim, why call me to such a shabby shop? A turtle grumbled as it slowly walked over. Meow, did he just call the great Chairman Park's shop shabby, meow? Already annoyed by the waiting, Theo was furious that the turtle insulted the shop he had diligently maintained, so that the great Chairman Park wouldn't be insulted. Thunk. Theo, enraged, jumped off the roof and landed in front of the turtle with a superhero landing pose. What is this? How dare you block the path of the legendary merchant, Golden Land Turtle Turbo? Turbo shouted angrily at Theo, who suddenly blocked his way. You're the one who dared to call the great Chairman Park's shop shabby, meow. I'll teach you a lesson, meow. Snap! As Theo shouted while extending his dragon claws. HMPH, you can't even scratch my shell with those thin claws. My shell is the strongest shield and weapon. Not knowing that Theo's claws were dragon claws, Turbo confidently removed his shell and wore it like a shield, then charged at Theo. And then, Pew hut, sign it, meow. Yes, I'll sign. Seeing his shell torn like a piece of paper by Theo's dragon claws, Turbo hurriedly stamped the slave contract. Seed shop headquarters. Sniff, sniff, it's really a precious fossil, why? Fossil, just wait a little longer. It's because Park Sejun hasn't discovered the fossil yet. Sniff, when Park Sejun eventually finds my fossil, he will build a temple for me, right? Of course, even Pearl. Lee comforted Fossil, who had not received a temple from Sejun. Leenum, thank you, I feel a bit better now. All right, now go hang out with others. Yes. As Fossil went to join the other gods. I should pay back some of the divine power today. Lee, having excess divine power for the first time, left the seed shop headquarters and went to find Hel, the god of merchants. Slide. Opening the door to Hel's building. Turbo, no, run away, Theo is a scoundrel. She saw Hel screaming. And then, no, Even you, Turbo, have fallen into Theo's evil clutches. Something seemed to have gone wrong, as Hel grabbed her head in despair. I should come back later. Lee quietly closed the door and left. After Lee had left, this won't do. I need to warn the remaining legendary merchants about Theo. As Hel decided to issue a Theo alert to the legendary merchants of the tower. Bang! Hel, give me back my divine relic. A giant man burst through the door, opposite the one Lee used, and shouted loudly. It was Thunder, the god of storms, who had pawned his divine relic, the Thunderbolt staff, at Hel's pawn shop. Kyungi Park has blocked conversations for 3 days. Thunder had been blocked for the 3rd time after telling Kyungi to stop being an herbalist. HMPH, a true warrior's blood boils at the sight of an excellent weapon. He planned to show his greatest divine relic, the Thunderbolt staff, to awaken the warrior's blood flowing in Kyungi once the block was lifted in 3 days. Of course, it was a completely futile effort. Even with the Thunderbolt staff, Kyungi had no intention of becoming a warrior. The Thunderbolt staff, I don't have it. What, then where is it? I sold it. Hel couldn't bring herself to admit that it had been taken away due to her pride. Why did you sell my divine relic without permission? You should have repaid your divine power debt on time. Tell the other war gods that if they don't repay their divine power debts, I'll sell all their divine relics too. Hel showed a very cold attitude, unlike when she was dealing with Theo. As expected, she wasn't the god of merchants for nothing. Damn it. Bang. After Thunder slammed the door and left. Legendary merchants, if you encounter a yellow cat, run away immediately no matter what. Hel sent a warning to the legendary merchants, who had not yet become Theo's slaves. 99th floor of the Black Tower. You have harvested the exploding stamina corn. Sejun, who had spent the morning planting destruction devourer seeds, harvested corn in the afternoon. And then, Kilahit Kaying. Hee guys, follow me. Yes, follow the great Blackie. Kiki. Blackie, leading Eamdal and the destruction devourers, was engrossed in playing leader. At that moment, sniff. There's something here. Blackie's nose caught a suspicious scent. It's something good. Swish. Reacting to the pleasant smell, Blackie's tail wagged vigorously. Kaying. It's here. Thwack. Blackie began digging into the ground with his front paws. A moment later. Hey, who said you could dig holes in the field? Sejun ran over to scold Blackie, who was digging a hole in the middle of the sweet potato field. However, Kilahit Kaying. Hee ha, look at this, I found it. Unlike usual, Blackie barked proudly instead of running away. What is it? When Sejun looked down at the hole Blackie had dug. Oh, this must be the fossil. He saw shining yellow gemstones. They were amber. And amber containing a plum seed. One of the many amber pieces caught Sejun's eye. Amber containing a plum seed. This amber was formed by the solidification of sap, with a plum seed inside it. The preservation state is good, so the plum seed can germinate if planted. Grade C. Oh, it's plum. Fossilnum, I'll give you 16.5 square meters. Sejun decided to make a 16.5 square meters fossil road for fossil. After gathering the amber and covering the ground again. Kilahit Kaying. Hee, I did well, did I? Don't I get anything? Blackie looked at Sejun with eyes full of expectation. Yes, you did well here. Sejun gave him some dried sweet potato slices. Munch. Blackie ate them happily. At that moment, Pew Hut, Chairman Park, I have returned, meow. Now it's time for teamwork, meow. Theo, who had taken the land deeds from Turbo, the golden land turtle of the Green Tower, returned. Chapter 446. Uncle, thank you so much for calling me. 93rd floor of the Green Tower. Are you ready to open the passage? I'm sorry. The immortal clan that was in charge of the lower floors suddenly disappeared. At the cold voice coming from the giant throne, Blethyn, the boss of the 93rd floor of the tower, answered with a voice filled with fear, prostrated on the ground. 10 days. Finish it within 10 days. If you don't finish it within that time, your life will end. Yes. As Blethyn hurriedly disappeared. Hell, the god of merchants, says there's a demon that turns legendary merchants into slaves, and if you see a yellow cat, run away no matter what. A message appeared before the being sitting on the throne. HMPH, run away no matter what when you see a yellow cat, ridiculous. Hell, you should worry about your own life. Anyway, everything will be annihilated once destruction comes. QQ Cuck. Shark, a legendary merchant working for destruction, who had been promised a world after destruction, laughed sinisterly. Pew Hut, Chairman Park, look at this, meow. Whoosh. Theo took out a pile of scrolls from his bag. Oh, land deeds. That's right, meow. A total of 10 land deeds. There were 7 land deeds from the Green Tower, and 1 each from the 40th floor of the Golden Tower, the 53rd floor of the Red Tower, and the 27th floor of the Blue Tower. Of course, among the 7 Green Tower land deeds, the one Theo wanted, the 93rd floor of the Green Tower, was included. Wow, Vice Chairman Theo, where did you get these? No one would just give away so many land deeds. Did he take them from someone? Sejun deduced the most reasonable conclusion. But, Pew Hut, Turbo gave them to me, meow. Contrary to Sejun's reasonable conclusion, Theo proudly said that Turbo gave them to him. Turbo? Who was that guy to give these to Theo? He's a new slave I made, meow. Well, that makes sense. He didn't give them, you took them. As Sejun was thinking that his assumption was correct. Chairman Park, there's no time to waste, meow. We need to go to the 93rd floor of the Green Tower, meow. Theo urged Sejun. The 93rd floor of the Green Tower. Why are we going there? Chairman Park, listen, meow. Egil is. Theo explained the situation of Egil being threatened by the power on the 93rd floor of the tower. So we're going to the 93rd floor of the Green Tower to make slaves, meow. There are many slaves there, meow. Although it started with the idea of helping Egil, it somehow ended with the slave hunter Theo talking about slaves, and... Okay, I got it. We received help, so we should help too. Heh, slaves are just a surplus that occurs in the process. Sejun, the Slave King. Everyone gather, summon Kyungi. As Sejun called his companions to use the land deed, he summoned Kyungi with the dragon horn's return bracelet, and summoning the designated target. Kyung. Huh. Kyungi, who appeared in front of Sejun along with the message, was startled. He was holding the thunderbolt staff high and swinging it forward. Kyungi was summoned while sparring with the Minotaur King. Kyung. Kyungi used all his telekinetic power to turn his body around, and Quagwing. Fortunately, no one got hurt. Instead, the house and 330,560 square meters of detoxifying green onion field were destroyed. I survived. From now on, I should summon more carefully. For Sejun, who had saved his life, that much damage was no problem at all. All right, go in. Sejun had his party enter the void storage. And then, Ophelia come out, over. He called Ophelia and... Ophelia, we're going to the 93rd floor of the Green Tower. He informed Ophelia in advance to get help in case of unexpected situations. The Green Tower's slave asks for 1,000 sausage skewers in return. Got it. The Green Tower's slave says you and your companions will not get hurt in the Green Tower, so don't worry. While Sejun was taking out Great Green Dragon insurance with 1,000 sausage skewers. Kiki. Kiki. Following Blackie, the Destruction Devourers clung to the void storage, asking to be taken along with him. Killahit Kaying. He sure, I'll let you in. Without Sejun noticing, Blackie started letting the Destruction Devourers into the void storage. Ophelia, and later, please clear the 99th floor of the tower for a moment. I need to set a waypoint there. The Green Tower slave says okay. Unaware, Sejun continued his conversation with Ophelia. Recently, Kaiser had modified the return bracelet again, allowing the return magic to be used with both relative and absolute coordinates. So, Sejun planned to set a waypoint on the 99th floor of the Green Tower to obtain the title, the one who reached the summit of 3 towers. With the title, the one who reached the summit of 3 towers, the waypoints of the 99th floors of the towers would be connected, allowing Sejun to travel to the Green Tower. Although he wouldn't need to go there often, it was wise to keep the route open just in case. Finishing his conversation with Ophelia. Hehe, it's finally time to wear it. Clink, clink. Sejun put on the red dragon full-body scale armor that he had been using as a scarecrow. Now he could fully wear it as he satisfied all the usage conditions. After fully equipping the armor, Aileen, I'm heading out. The tower administrator says to be careful. Okay, don't worry, I'm going now. As H whoosh. After saying goodbye to Aileen, he unfolded the 93rd floor Green Tower land deed. And then, the summoning function is activated for the initial owner inscription of the 93rd floor Green Tower land deed. With the message, Sejun disappeared. You have arrived at the 93rd floor of the Green Tower. Swish. Everyone come out. As soon as Sejun arrived, he called his companions in a quiet voice while keeping a vigilant eye on his surroundings. Fortunately, it was a barren wasteland with nothing around. Clank. Pew Hut, Chairman Park, I missed you. Clink. As the void storage opened, Theo rushed toward Sejun's face, opened the helmet visor and... Meow. He clung to Sejun's bare face. Hey, why do you always rub your body on my bare face? Because Chairman Park's face is rotten, meow. It's not rotten. It is rotten, meow. While Sejun was bickering with Theo, Kyungi flew around in the sky, scouting the surroundings. Kilahit Kaying. Come out, everyone. Yes. Kiki. Blackie let out Yumdal and the destruction devourers from the void storage. Huh, these guys, Blackie, did you bring them? Kilahit Kaying. He, of course, they are my subordinates. As Sejun saw the endless number of destruction devourers coming out of the void storage, and asked Blackie. Heb. The destruction devourers opened their mouths toward the air and started devouring the energy of destruction. Huh. There was energy of destruction here. On the 99th floor of the Black Tower, Sejun had deliberately planted Fenrir's core fragments in the ground, so there was energy of destruction, but not here. What is this? Is there an apostle of destruction nearby? As Sejun kept a vigilant watch on the surroundings. Hey, if you stay there like that, they'll come. Quickly hide over here. A voice called Sejun, opening a small cover on the ground. But, Quagwagwang. Crackle. Herbalist Kyungi has defeated the 5th calamity, giant poisonous snail. Any threats to Sejun were already being dealt with by Kyungi with the Thunderbolt staff. Huh, why is the 5th calamity appearing here? Ophelia, didn't you know a calamity had entered the tower? Sejun scolded Ophelia, but no answer came. Are you trying to communicate with other places? Then it's useless. I don't know what they did, but communication is blocked. Ah, my name is Ari. A green meerkat named Ari, who had come out of the underground tunnel, looked up at Sejun and spoke. Yeah, about a year ago they suddenly appeared, made the boss of this place, Blethun, their subordinate, and have been turning the residents into slaves. Meow, did you say slaves, meow? Theo, with his nose flaring in excitement, asked in an eager voice at Ari's words. Why, yes. Then are the snails also under their control? Yes, the snails are capturing the residents of the tower. That's why we are hiding underground. I see. Just as Sejun was listening to Ari explain the situation on the 93rd floor of the tower, a quest has appeared. Quest. The mangosteen farm on the 93rd floor of the Green Tower has been eroded and disappeared due to the energy of destruction. Remove the energy of destruction that has spread on the 93rd floor of the tower. Reward: 1 mangosteen tree, recognition as the rightful owner of the land deed. A land deed quest appeared. So this was originally a mangosteen farm. Thanks to this, Sejun learned what kind of farm this place used to be. Ari, where is their main base? As Sejun was asking Ari about the enemy's main base. Kai kai kai. Kai kai kai. Kilahit Kaying. He guys charge. Great Blackie is on the move, make way. The Destruction Devourers, carrying Blackie and Yumdal, started running north. Hey! Ari belatedly pointed in the direction where the Destruction Devourers were heading. Hey, let's go together, everyone let's go. Okay, meow. Kyung. Got it. Thus Sejun, Theo and Kyungi, worried about Blackie, hurriedly followed behind. But, Kaying. Attack. Kai kai. Kai kai. There was no need to worry much. The fifth calamity, the giant poisonous snails, were surrounded by the Destruction Devourers. Thud thud. The giant poisonous snails, sucked out of their energy of destruction, began to fall one by one. To the Destruction Devourers, the calamities were just excellent food with great nutrients. And then, burp, burp. The Destruction Devourers burped, emitting a blue mist. You have achieved the great feat of spreading the energy of creation in the Green Tower. As a reward for this great feat, the cost of staying on the 0th floor of the Black Tower will be reduced by 1%. Messages appeared simultaneously. Oh, it's a 1% reduction. If the stay cost decreases by 1% every time the Devourers burp in another tower, and there are 7 towers left, haha, I can reduce it by an additional 7%. That would bring the stay cost down to 19%. If I'm lucky, I might even be able to reduce it to 0%. And then, I believe in you, Vice Chairman Theo. Sejun had Theo, who had the golden front paw of great luck that never failed to bring good fortune. Meow, Chairman Park, you believe in me, meow. Got it, meow. Just believe in me, Vice Chairman Theo, meow. Pew Hugh Hut, the great Chairman Park said he believes in me, meow. I'm so happy, meow. Theo's chest swelled with emotion at Sejun's words. Chairman Park, it's that way, meow. I suddenly feel a pull from that direction, meow. Theo, who was clinging to Sejun's knee, pointed west with his front paw. Really? Then we should split up. Sejun could always trust Theo's intuition. For his safety, Sejun planned to move with Theo and Kyungi. I'm a bit worried about Peacebees alone. Summon Black Rabbit. To protect Blackie, Yumdal, and the Destruction Devourers, Sejun used the Dragon Horn's return bracelet to summon Black Rabbit. Will it work? Considering the communication cutoff with Ophelia, the summoning might not work. Summoning the designated target. It worked. Pipayak. Uncle, thank you so much for calling me. Fortunately, the summoning of Black Rabbit was successful. But why is he so grateful, as if he had a narrow escape from death? Black Rabbit, protect the others along with Peacebees. Pipayak, Pipayak. Uncle, don't worry, you can count on me. Pip, don't worry. Leaving Blackie and his subordinates to the overly enthusiastic Black Rabbit and Peacebees. Vice Chairman Theo, is it that way? Pew Hugh Hut, yes, meow, it's that way, meow. Kyung. Kyungi will give you a ride. Sejun and Theo got on Kyungi's back and flew quickly in the direction Theo pointed. And then, help us. Thud, thud, thud. They saw Shark, the legendary merchant working with destruction, was wearing a black hood and stamping the foreheads of lined-up tower residents. Meow, it's him, meow. Theo moved in an instant with meow step. Huh. Snatching the red stamp Shark was holding. Chairman Park, catch this, meow. Theo quickly returned to Sejun with meow step and handed over the stamp that Shark was holding. 32nd floor of the Black Tower. Sai, when will I get there? The king of farming, who had received the trial of Li, god of abundance, sighed deeply as he continued his arduous climb towards the 99th floor of the tower. Chapter 447. It may be unfair, but it doesn't lie. Seed Shop Headquarters. King of Farming, hurry up. Park Sejun is waiting for my divine relic. You need to hurry so that I can get my monument as well. Li urged the King of Farming, unaware that Pottery harboring resentment towards the King of Farming was on the 99th floor of the tower. And, God, I'm doing my best too, don't rush me. The King of Farming was slightly irritated by Li's urging. I see, then take your time. Li, the god of abundance, quickly tried to appease the King of Farming. HMPH. Later, I'll tell Park Sejun that the King of Farming dawdled, delaying the delivery of the divine relic. Thinking inwardly about telling Sejun later. Li, who inadvertently annoyed the King of Farming while urging him. I should go pay my debt. Went back to find Hell again. But, Shark, I told you to run away no matter what when you see a yellow cat. Hell was screaming again today. What's wrong with her lately? Did I make a mistake by advising her to invest in Park Sejun? Hell seemed to be getting worse ever since she invested in Sejun. While Li was worrying about Hell, Theo Park, the legendary merchant of the Black Tower, has discovered that the Green Tower's slave seal, a legendary merchant item belonging to Shark, has been corrupted by the power of destruction. A message appeared in front of Hell. What? The legendary merchant item of Shark has been corrupted by the power of destruction. Legendary merchant items are bound to their owners. Then does this mean Shark has betrayed us? Hell was greatly shocked by the message. To think that a traitor who sided with destruction would appear among the legendary merchants. To avoid my gaze, only the legendary merchant item was corrupted. This was a very serious situation. There could be more traitors among the legendary merchants who sided with destruction. If she had found out too late, and the traitors supporting destruction impeached her and became the god of merchants, the Seed Shop Headquarters and the Combat Shop Headquarters would all be contaminated by the power of destruction. But, Shark, you messed with the wrong person today. Theo will immediately make Shark his slave, right? For today, it was extremely fortunate that Shark met Theo. And the legendary merchant Theo Park of the Black Tower is making the legendary merchant Shark of the Green Tower his slave. Just as Hell had predicted, Theo made Shark his slave. That's a relief. Thanks to Theo, Hell cleanly dealt with the traitor. Thank you, Theo Park, for making Shark a slave. Hell thanked Theo with a sigh of relief. Theo Park, the legendary merchant of the Black Tower, demands that if you're grateful, show it with a reward, not just words. Theo boldly demanded a reward. Sure, as expected of a legendary merchant, your calculations are clear. Okay, I'll give you this. Normally, Hell would only give a reward after being threatened, but today, she was so grateful that she happily gave the reward with a smile. As Hell sent the reward to Theo. Hell, I'm here. Li, who had been watching from outside, entered the building when she saw Hell's condition improving. Li, come in. Should I lend you some divine power? No, I'm here to repay some divine power today. Really? You must be earning a lot these days. Well, thanks to Park Sejun, I've also accumulated quite a bit of divine power lately. See, I told you investing in Park Sejun was the right decision, did I? Yes, I guess I was right to listen to you. At first, there were some regrets because of Theo, but thanks to Theo, he caught the traitor and things turned out well in the end. Here, 10 divine power. Okay, now you only need to repay 91,281,000 more divine power. Although there was still an enormous amount of divine power to repay. Got it, I'll repay more soon. Li responded energetically. Until recently, she had been struggling to pay even the 0.001% interest. Now that Li could repay the principal, she was very happy. Then I'll be off. Okay, take care. shortly after Lee left the building. Knock knock. Hello, Helnim. Pearl, welcome. Are you here to repay divine power too? Yes, here is 0.2 divine power. Pearl, the god of pearls, also came to repay divine power. Knock knock. Following that, other non-combat gods visited Hell to repay their divine power, making Hell busy for the first time in a while. This is nice. Although Hell had received less than 1% of the divine power lent to the non-combat gods, she smiled contentedly. Seeing the non-combat gods, who had struggled without divine power, now more comfortable, put her mind at ease. Park Sejun is really amazing. No, it's all thanks to Theo Park, the legendary merchant. Birds of a feather flocked together. Hell defended Theo, a fellow legendary merchant. At that moment, Theo Park, the legendary merchant of the Black Tower, is trying to bind the legendary merchant item 5 Towers, slave seal, belonging to Shark of the Green Tower. Do you allow it? Theo tried to bind Shark's legendary merchant item, whose name had changed. 93rd floor of the Green Tower. Green Tower slave seal. Sejun examined the seal Theo handed him. Green Tower slave seal. A seal created during the legendary merchant promotion test of the Green Tower. Materials used: Babel's Codex, shackles of confinement, 1,000-year-old tree roots, advanced magic stone, 1,000 slave contracts. The slave seal was enhanced using the Babel's Codex, shackles of confinement, and 1,000-year-old tree roots as materials. Corrupted by the power of destruction. When stamped on the body of an opponent belonging to the Green Tower, it imposes a debt of 100 billion tower coins. Failure to repay will result in eternal slavery. Can only be used once per target. Bound to the legendary merchant Shark. Usage restriction. Legendary merchant, magic power 5,000 plus, affiliated with destruction. Creator Hell, god of merchants. Grade. While Sejun examined the item. You bastards, give me back my item. Shark, having his legendary merchant item taken, rushed at Sejun, but Kyung. Daddy is focusing right now, don't disturb him. Bang. Crackle. Alorg. Struck by Kyungi's thunderbolt staff, Shark fainted. A moment later. Wow, this guy is really bad. Sejun spoke after examining Shark's legendary merchant item. To impose a debt of 100 billion tower coins just by stamping on the opponent's body without a contract, and to make them an eternal slave if they can't pay. At least we let them go if they pay the debt, but eternally. Even Sejun, who worked in the same industry, clicked his tongue at the cruelty. Vice Chairman Theo, this item is corrupted by the power of destruction. Meow, then that guy is a bad person, meow. Theo grinned and pointed at the fainted Shark. Yes. Pew hut, then can I make him a slave, meow? Heh, of course. The reason Sejun and Theo personally came to the 93rd floor of the Green Tower was to create many slaves. And luckily, they met the master of the slaves right away. By enslaving the master, who owned a large number of slaves, they could gain many slaves with little effort. Go, Vice Chairman Theo. Pew hut, got it, meow. Responding energetically to Sejun's shout, Theo ran to the fainted Shark and removed his hood. Then, press. He pressed the hand stamp of Shark, who had a shark's head on a human body. You have hunted one slave. Confirmed 51,231 slaves owned by the slave. Due to the effect of title, Slave Hunter, all stats increase by the maximum value of 10,000. Thanks to this, Theo's stats increased significantly. Meow, Chairman Park, I hunted over 50,000 slaves, but all my stats only increased by 10,000, meow. Theo sulked. Over 50,000 slaves, then I. Hezeli. Sejun anticipated the messages that would appear in front of him. But, you have acquired one slave. All stats increase by 0.01 due to the effect of title, Slave King. What? Unlike Theo, Sejun's stats only increased based on the slaves captured by Theo. Damn you, system. Once again, Sejun was furious at the system that seemed to be against him. While Sejun was fuming, you can purify and enhance the corrupted Green Tower's slave seal, using Fenrir's power in your body. Do you wish to use Fenrir's power? Another message appeared in front of Sejun. Fenrir's power can purify the power of destruction. Isn't Fenrir an apostle of destruction? It didn't make sense that the power possessed by an apostle of destruction would purify the power of destruction. But the system doesn't lie. It may be unfair, but it doesn't lie. I'll use it. Using 0.005% of Fenrir's power to purify and enhance the corrupted Green Tower slave seal. As Sejun spoke, a dark blue energy flowed from his body into the seal. And then, 5 Towers slave seal. It was upgraded to a seal that could make residents of not only the Green Tower, but also the Black Tower, White Tower, Golden Tower, and Brown Tower into slaves. Instead, as the power of destruction was purified, the debt created when stamp was reduced to 50 billion tower coins, and the option changed so that one could be freed from slavery if they repaid the debt. Sejun, having enhanced the legendary merchant item. Vice Chairman Theo used this. Imagining Theo enslaving people with this seal made his heart swell with pride, making him momentarily forget it was a bound item. Pew Hut, thank you, meow. Chairman Park used this in return, meow. As Theo received the seal, he handed Sejun a pearl he had received from Hell as a reward. Heart of courage. I'll check it later. For now, we should go back. As the work concluded, Sejun hurried to return to where the rest of the group was. Somehow, he had a bad feeling. Kyungi, let's go back. Kyung. Got it. As Sejun and Theo rode Kyungi back to their group. Hell, god of merchants, does not allow the use of bound items belonging to other legendary merchants. Hell's message appeared in front of Theo, who was clinging to Sejun's knee. Meow. Chairman Park gave it to me, meow. I'm going to use it, meow. The god of merchants Hell explains that if legendary merchant items are concentrated on one person, it will cause problems with the economic balance of the 9 towers. Hell tried to persuade by explaining the economic logic, but Hawk Hellnim, if you refuse, it's impeachment, meow. Theo Park, the legendary merchant of the Black Tower, initiates an impeachment vote against the god of merchants, Hell. Theo, you rascal. Hell, god of merchants, permits the binding of the 5 Towers slave seal to Theo Park, the legendary merchant of the Black Tower. Hell had no choice but to concede due to Theo's impeachment threat. At the moment when the slave hunter Theo acquired the excellent 5 Towers slave seal. Kihab-kaying. Hee, we won. Congratulations, great Blackie. Kiki. Blackie and his subordinates, who had only been chasing the enemy but ended up occupying their main base thanks to the efforts of Black Rabbit and Peacebees, celebrated their victory. Meanwhile, Abyss of Destruction. During this time, Black Rabbit and Peacebees discovered the location from which the 5th calamity, the giant poisonous snail, were coming from in the enemy's main base. A red hole with a diameter of 100 m and a bottom that couldn't be seen, like an abyss. Just looking at it was creepy and gave goosebumps. Peepayak. What is this? Pip, this feels ominous. Black Rabbit and Peacebees hesitated, unable to approach the abyss of destruction. Heb. The destruction devourers approached the abyss of destruction and diligently absorbed the energy of destruction. And burp. They exhaled the energy of creation, gradually shrinking the abyss of destruction. Thanks to this, everyone was able to feel at ease. Dares to interfere with my work. An eerie voice that froze everyone came from beyond the abyss of destruction. And then, thump. A giant spider crawled up the abyss of destruction as comfortably as if walking on flat ground. The main body of Alice, the mesmerizing spider, the ninth seat of the Apostles of Destruction, appeared on the 93rd floor of the Green Tower with half of its power. Chapter 448. This is Eamdal. Can you hear me, main body? Outskirts of Destruction. Rustle, rustle. Alice, the mesmerizing spider, ninth seat of the Apostles of Destruction, was diligently producing spider webs. At the same time, she used her 8 legs to weave the spun web using her power. It's almost done now. She took the woven web and attached it to the wall inside a red hole, expanding the hole. A small crack, the thickness of a pinky finger, had accidentally formed on the outskirts of Destruction. Usually such cracks are highly unstable and disappear almost instantly, so 99.99% of the time, they go unnoticed. But Alice, lucky enough to discover the crack before it closed. I can feel the energy of the tower. Recognizing the tower's energy coming from the crack, she quickly inserted her web into it, preventing it from closing. Then she began to push her web through the crack continuously. The first task was camouflage. Using a mesmerizing camouflage screen made from her web, she wrapped the 93rd floor of the Green Tower, preventing the energy of destruction from leaking out and making it appear as if nothing was amiss, deceiving the dragons. Once the camouflage work on the 93rd floor of the Green Tower was complete, Alice began to expand the crack, creating a passage large enough for her to pass through with her full strength. The moment she could enter the tower through this completed path, everything will end. Alice smiled sinisterly, imagining the tower being corrupted by the energy of destruction and being destroyed. At that moment, snap, snap. Suddenly, Alice's spider web started breaking, and the passage Alice was creating gradually became smaller. What the? Alice quickly put her legs on her spider web and read the vibrations transmitted through the spider web to assess the situation. There are strange creatures beyond the passage, absorbing the energy of destruction. Damn it, just one more day and it would have been complete. Alice, seeing the passage that had now shrunk to the point where it could only handle half of her power, contemplated. I have no choice. She decided to go through. If 10% more of her web snapped, the passage would completely collapse. Thud, thud. Having made her decision, Alice entered the passage connected to the 93rd floor of the Green Tower. Green Tower, 93rd floor. Kyung. Sejun and Theo, riding on Kyungi's back, were moving towards where their companions were. I can see the devourers over there. When Sejun spotted the destruction devourers surrounding the abyss of destruction. Boom! With a massive ground tremor, the destruction devourers vanished instantly, and a black mountain, about 70 meters high, rose. Simultaneously, a blood-red mist spread around the mountain. Why is there suddenly a mountain? As Sejun was looking at the mountain in confusion. Apostle of Destruction, 9th seat, mesmerizing spider Alice. He noticed the name atop the mountain. And then, you have achieved the great feat of witnessing the main body of an Apostle of Destruction. As a reward for achieving a great feat, you have acquired title, Witness of the Apostle of Destruction. Due to the effect of title, Witness of the Apostle of Destruction, your resistance to the power of destruction increases slightly. A message appeared. That's the main body of the Apostle of Destruction. Not a mountain. Sejun, who had naturally thought it was a mountain, was shocked by the message. No wonder I had a bad feeling. Why are bad premonitions always right? Then what about the kids? Summon Black Rabbit, summon Peacebeast, summon Blackie. Summoning the designated targets. Sejun hurriedly used the Dragon Horn's return bracelet to summon all his companions in front of him. Fortunately, all the companions were safe, and Eamdal, who was clinging to Blackie's fur, was also okay. Peepayak, Peepayak. Uncle, I missed you. I thought I was really going to die this time. Pip Pip, Sejun Nim, it was really scary. Kilahit Kaying Kaying. Hee hee, you cowards, the great Blackie is never scared. Of course, The great Blackie would never be scared of someone like Alice. Doll, look at Blackie's legs before you speak. Tremble, tremble. Blackie's legs were shaking like a vibrating smartphone. Of course, Blackie, the first seed of the Apostles of Destruction, wasn't actually scared of Alice. He was just exerting all his strength to withstand Alice's energy, but Sejun didn't know that. Let's go to the 99th floor of the Green Tower and inform Brashenham. Brashenham, who ate the Transcendence Black Bean, should be able to handle it. So Sejun used the Dragon Horn's return bracelet, setting the coordinates and activating the return magic. However, the return magic engraved on the Dragon Horn's return bracelet is activated. Calculating the distance between the current coordinates and the return target coordinates. The surroundings are cut off from the external space. Return magic cannot be used. Alice had already completely blocked the 93rd floor of the tower with her web. What? We can't get out of here. This is bad. What should we do? Hide. Sejun looked around, searching for a place to hide. But, kick, trying to escape from me, how foolish. Thud, thud. Alice quickly found the companions Sejun had summoned from several kilometers away and was rapidly approaching them, so hiding or escaping didn't seem like a good option. You don't want to talk, right, then? Is fighting the only option left? This was really the worst. To fight an enemy that even the dragons find difficult, he couldn't muster any fighting spirit at all. But this wasn't a matter of choice. It was a realm of results, where success and failure were the only options. And he had to succeed. Enter the void storage, Vice Chairman Theo. Grab the money, Kyungi grabbed the food. Sejun made them gather the money and food needed to bring their combat power to the maximum. Chairman Park understood meow. Kyung understood. In response to Sejun's words, they hurried into the void storage to gather money and food. Transcendence Black Bean, Sturdy Stamina Red Bean, Sturdy Strength Yellow Bean. Meanwhile, Sejun took out the Transcendence Black Bean and the other 4 beans from his leather pouch. You know how to eat this, right? He distributed 5 sets of beans and mugwort juice potions to his companions. And then, you have planted destruction devourer seeds in the ground infused with magic power. He suddenly started planting destruction devourer seeds. You have been exposed to strong energy of destruction. For every minute of exposure to the strong energy of destruction, your vitality decreases by 10%, and all stats permanently decrease by 10. It was because of the energy of destruction emitted by Alice from several kilometers away. If the destruction devourers didn't absorb the energy of destruction, the situation would become increasingly disadvantageous over time. After planting 10,000 seeds of destruction devourers, thud, thud, the distance to Alice had narrowed to 1 kilometer. Vice Chairman Theo, open your mouth. Understood, meow. Theo opened his mouth without any suspicion at Sejun's call. Swoosh. Sejun placed a set of beans mixed with churro into Theo's mouth. Theo would never eat anything other than fish and churro, so Sejun made him eat the beans along with churro. Pew hut, it's delicious, meow. I'm overflowing with power, meow. Thanks to eating the set of beans with churro, all of Theo's stats increased 16 times for 4 minutes. Vice Chairman Theo, deploy. Pew hut, leave it to me, Vice Chairman Theo, meow. I'll teach her a lesson, meow. Meow, 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 meow. Theo, moving quickly above Alice with meow step, began his meow meow storm fist and unleashed a flurry of attacks on Alice. And then, Kyung, cool, bang crackle. Kyungi also ate the bean set and attacked Alice with the thunderbolt staff. You bastards! Alice staggered every time she was hit by their attacks. It seemed their attacks were effective. Pipayak, I'll turn you into rice cakes. Black Rabbit also used the ultimate skill of the Rice Cake Master, and along with 11 former Rice Cake Masters, pounded Alice with rice cake mallets. Pip Storm Fist. One pip slash. Peacebees attacked Alice's belly from below, where he couldn't be seen by his brothers. While these intense attacks were being unleashed, Sejun approached Alice. You have encountered an apostle of destruction. Title Hunter of Destruction is activated. Reduces the abilities of an apostle of destruction within 100 meters by 20%. Good. Using the title Hunter of Destruction, Sejun weakened Alice's abilities. Although it didn't directly help in the battle, it was a way to support his companions. As Sejun, who had debuffed Alice, was climbing up her back to his next destination. Hut hear meow. Q-he-ha. Peepayak. Pip here. The companions distracted Alice to allow Sejun to safely climb onto her back. Arrived. Sejun, who had reached Alice's back, started planting the seeds of the Destruction Devourer in the cracks that had formed as her shell broke. Your field LV-2 is activated. You have planted Destruction Devourer seeds in the body of the mesmerizing spider Alice, the 9th seat of the Apostles of Destruction. Your job experience has greatly increased. Your proficiency of your field LV-2 has greatly increased. You have planted the seed in the best environment for Destruction Devourers to grow. Destruction Devourers absorb the energy of destruction 3 times faster. Destruction Devourers rapidly grow by absorbing the life force of the mesmerizing spider Alice, the 9th seat of the Apostles of Destruction. Planting Destruction Devourers with the Yura field skill not only steals the enemy's life force, but also reduces Alice's power of destruction, achieving 2 goals at once. As Sejun was planting Destruction Devourer seeds. Special effect, Hatred of Destruction is activated. With this message, instead of absorbing the energy of destruction in the air, the Destruction Devourers chomp started directly biting and eating Alice's body to absorb the power of destruction. As a result, Alice's life force was depleted even faster. Meanwhile, the Sejun's companions had been pouring out attacks on Alice for a total of 4 minutes while using 1 set of beans. However, this is fun. To Alice, who hadn't even released one of her 4 seals yet, Sejun and his companions, attacks were not threatening at all. Release seal. He. Just by Alice releasing the first seal, Sejun felt an immense pressure. Although he managed to endure it, that was all. It was as if he was immobilized by an overwhelming gravitational force. Meow. Then Vice Chairman Theo will release his seal too, meow. In response to Alice's seal release, Theo ate churu and burned money. Theo shone so brightly it was blinding. Kyungi will also release his seal too. Kyungi ate the bean set and released his calm state, exploding his compressed power. And then, 1 meow finger attack meow. Kyungi's 10,000 step punch. The companions started attacking Alice again. At that moment, Kiki. The Destruction Devourers planted on Alice's back started to cheer energetically and began eating Alice's now more delicious body. When Alice released her seal, the Destruction Devourers planted in her body also received the seal release effect, enhancing their abilities. Oh, total jackpot. Thanks to this, the Destruction Devourers, having absorbed an even stronger energy of destruction, burp, spewed out more intense energy of creation, relieving the pressure on Sejun's body and allowing him to move again. Your field LV-2 is activated. Sejun started diligently planting Destruction Devourer on Alice's back again. While everyone was fighting, Sejun was farming alone. TL, so this is what author meant by farming alone. As everyone was busy moving around. This is Eamdal, can you hear me, main body? Eamdal spoke to the main body through the passage Alice had created. Chapter 449, because of you he fainted. Outskirts of destruction. Is Fenrir Nim okay? Kruger looked at the Black Tower, worrying about Fenrir. Although Kruger's fragment, Eamdahl, had already met Blackie, the main body had not yet received the latest information from Eamdahl. By the way, they are really sending a lot. Currently, other apostles of destruction were sending an enormous number of fragments into the Black Tower to claim Fenrir's core fragment. But isn't that too many? Aren't they going to get caught like this? Kruger spoke as he looked at the apostle of destruction fragments approaching the Black Tower. To enter the Black Tower, the apostle of destruction fragments needed a deceptive camouflage veil created by the mesmerizing spider Alice to hide the power of destruction. However, the size of the veil was not infinite, and over 10,000 apostle of destruction fragments were barely hiding within the veil, clumped together. No, it would be better if they got caught. How dare they target the great Fenrir's core fragment? Although they were on the same side, Kruger was cursing rather than cheering them on. Then, did they really get caught? Suddenly, a small black dragon emerged from the Black Tower and, cruel. The small body unleashed a powerful breath on the clumped apostle of destruction fragments, destroying them in one blow. Ah, that feels so refreshing. The kid knows how to use breath attacks. As Kruger felt relieved watching the apostle of destruction fragments melt away in the intense breath. This is Eamdahl. Can you hear me, main body? A voice echoed in Kruger's head. Who is Eamdahl to call me the main body? Wait a moment. At the main body's response, Eamdahl hurriedly sent its memories to the main body. Thus Kruger now updated with Eamdahl's memories, or rather Eamdahl itself. To think that I'm Eamdahl, this is really bad. The main body frowned upon hearing its new name. Moreover, to give such a vulgar name like Blackie to Fenrir, the noble wolf who hunts gods. Park Sejun, I really don't like you. It was the first time in its life that it felt murderous intent just because of a name. All right, then I'll send a part of my soul to the 99th floor of the Black Tower. The method of splitting the soul and sending it into a fragment was extremely dangerous, as there was a high chance of losing that part of the soul in the process. However, since this was the fastest way to get to Blackie, Kruger made the bold choice. Main body, there's no need for that. You can come comfortably through the passage Alice created. The passage Alice created. That's right, and Blackingham is in danger because of Alice, so it would be good if you come quickly. The great Blackingham is in danger. Got it, I will come quickly. Eamdahl hurriedly searched for the passage Alice had created. Here it is. Following the signal from his fragment and the unfamiliar energy, which was not the energy of destruction, he quickly found it. The great Blackingham, please wait a moment. Your loyal Eamdahl will come quickly. Eamdahl's main body hurled itself towards the passage, leading to the 93rd floor of the Green Tower. Green Tower, 93rd floor. Kirorong. You're falling asleep in this situation. How can you sleep here? Sejun looked at Blackie in disbelief. Ah, Blackie, you fainted. Ha ha ha, you sunfish. He chuckled happily and put Blackie in the void storage. But then, meow, Kyungi, Theo Kyung Park drill storm meow. Kyung. Got it. Pipayak. 108 rice cake hammer combo. Quagwing. You're a field LV, 4 is activated. Sejun, who was leisurely planting destruction devourer seeds on the back of Alice, the mesmerizing spider and 9th seat of the apostles of destruction, near his companions who were in the midst of an intense battle, wasn't normal either. Of course, it was his mind that was leisurely, while his hands moved so fast that they were impossible to track with the human eye. Sejun was planting 10 destruction devourer seeds per second. This meant that the process of digging the ground, burying the seed, covering it with soil, and watering it was happening in 0.1 seconds. An incredible speed. This was thanks to eating the Transcendence black bean, which increased all his stats by 16 times. As Sejun was planting the destruction devourer seeds with a relaxed mind, unlike his comrades. Not bad, I should put in a bit more effort too. Release seal. Alice released the second stage seal. Arg! At the same time, Sejun felt an excruciating pain, as if his entire body was being crushed by Alice's aura. In reality, if not for the power, sturdy young dragon's solid bones, all the bones in his body would have shattered. However, a crack forms in the sturdy young dragon's solid bones. It was impossible to withstand Alice's aura continuously. Chairman Park, hang in there, meow. Chairman Park's condition doesn't look good, meow. Theo wanted to rush to the collapsing Sejun immediately, but he couldn't. Because if he didn't attack Alice, Sejun would be in even more danger. Meow. I'll quickly defeat this one and return to Chairman Park, meow. Theo grabbed his money pouch and flash started burning money again. I'll burn more money, meow. Blaze. Theo began burning an amount that exceeded what his body could handle. Blaze. A golden light, which seemed as if it would burn anything it touched, erupted from Theo's body. And then, queuing. Dad is in danger. Kyungi, seeing the fallen Sejun, also drew out all the energy in his body. Crackle. The powerful energy of thunder flows into the Thunderbolt staff. The Thunderbolt staff is 120% charged. His fur stood up, and golden sparks created by static electricity continuously erupted, charging the Thunderbolt staff with thunder energy. The thought of saving Sejun made Theo and Kyungi desperate, pushing them to unconsciously break through their limits. And then, meow, you hurt Chairman Park, meow. I'll teach you a lesson, meow. Vice Chairman Theo's secret technique, golden meow fist, meow. After placing his golden glowing paw on Alice's belly. Press. As he lightly pressed with all his strength. Boom. The pink jelly on Theo's paw created a repulsive force, penetrating Alice's hard exoskeleton and delivering powerful energy inside. Bang! The powerful force erupted inside Alice's body, lifting her into the air briefly. Gah, you bastard! As the enraged Alice was about to attack Theo. Kyung. Now it's Kyungi's turn. Kyungi's secret technique, Kyungi's thunder barrage. Bang bang. Kyungi moved swiftly, striking Alice's entire body with the Thunderbolt staff. Quagwing. Crackle. Powerful lightning struck the spots Kyungi hit with the Thunderbolt staff, causing tremendous damage that made smoke rise from Alice's body. Arg, you bastards, I'll release all my seals. Thanks to this, Alice, who was furious to the point her head was about to explode, was about to release the remaining 2 seals at once when clang, Kilahit Kang. Hee success. Blackie shouted, jumping out of the void storage. Thud. At the same time, Alice lost consciousness and collapsed. Thanks to this, Alice's suppressive power around the area disappeared. While everyone was fighting hard against Alice, Blackie had entered Alice's mental world and fought against Alice's mind, successfully sealing Alice's mind. Kilahit Kang. Hee Imdal, did you see? The great Blackie's feat. Of course, as expected, the great Blackie Nim. Kilahit Kang. Hee, that's right, the great Blackie Nim solved it. You're amazing. Feeling proud, Blackie received flattery from Imdal. Kang. But what's wrong with him? Blackie asked, looking at the unconscious Sejun. It seems his body was harmed from exposure to Alice's aura. Kang. What? Alice did this to him, Alice. Blackie called out to Alice in anger at Imdal's words. Kuruk. Scuttle. A tiny spider the size of a thumbnail hurriedly scurried over on its short 8 legs. It was Alice, who had lost her power and shrunk after being sealed by Blackie. Kang. Alice, because of you he fainted. Kuruk. As Blackie scolded Alice. Love you. Sejun regained consciousness amidst the commotion. Did I faint? He thought he had grown stronger recently, but it seemed he still had a long way to go. Gulp. Sejun drank the mugwort juice potion with a bitter expression. Although his vitality recovered, his lowered self-esteem did not. At that moment, Chairman Park, are you okay? Meow. K. Kyung. Dad, are you okay? Pipayak. Uncle, are you okay? Pip Pip Sejun Nim. His comrades, having confirmed that Alice was completely incapacitated, hurriedly rushed to Sejun. Then, press. They began massaging Sejun's body. Haha, this feels good. Sejun felt better from the massage of the four. However, Pew Hugh Hut. Chairman Park is healthy, meow. I'm glad, meow. But your face looks rotten, meow. Press. Seeing Theo, who was unpleasantly laughing and focusing on massaging only his face, made Sejun feel slightly annoyed. But is this okay? Alice, the mesmerizing spider, ninth seed of the Apostles of Destruction, who has lost her soul. Lost her soul? Sejun spoke as he looked at Alice's giant soulless body. Pew Hugh Hut, I Vice Chairman Theo have checked and it's safe, meow. Theo shouted confidently in response to Sejun's words. Then let's deal with it quickly and go back. Sejun thought he could handle Alice quickly since she was unconscious, but meow, that's difficult, meow. Alice is too tough, meow. Even without her soul, Alice was still an apostle of destruction. No one there could kill Alice. Then Brachionim. Initially, Sejun thought of calling Brachio to deal with Alice. However, no, wait. He quickly changed his mind. Let's plant the Destruction Devourer on Alice's body. There was no better place than here to level up the Yura field skill and grow the Destruction Devourer. Through this battle, Sejun realized that the more Destruction Devourers there were, the easier it was to fight against destruction. Destruction Devourers were beings that damaged the Apostles of Destruction just by breathing, without doing anything else. Next time, I'll win with only the Destruction Devourers. As Sejun looked at Alice's body and laughed sinisterly. Pew Hugh Hut. Theo laughed along with Sejun. And then, Yura Field LV-4 is activated. When did it become level 4? Sejun realized that the Yura Field skill, which had been level 2, had somehow risen to level 4. He hadn't noticed the skill leveling up earlier due to the chaos. Oh, now the damage is doubled. Upon reaching level 4, an option was added that doubled the damage inflicted when crops grew and when they were harvested. As Sejun confirmed the new option and continued planting Destruction Devourer seeds on Alice's body. Pew Hugh Hut, become a slave, meow. A giant slave, meow. Press. Theo, imagining the joy of riding on a slave Alice, stamped the 5 towers, slave seal on Alice's body. However, you have stamped the 5 towers, slave seal on the soulless 9th Apostle of Destruction, the mesmerizing spider Alice. The 5 towers, slave seal, imposes a debt of 50 billion tower coins on the soulless 9th Apostle of Destruction, the mesmerizing spider Alice. The soulless 9th Apostle of Destruction, the mesmerizing spider Alice has repaid 50 billion tower coins. Meow. Alice easily repaid the money. Become a slave of me, Vice Chairman Theo, meow. Press. Theo stamped again, but once more, Alice repaid the money. Meow, this is infuriating, meow. Press. Enraged, Theo continued to stamp Alice's body in a fit of anger. And so Alice became Theo's ATM. The soulless 9th Apostle of Destruction, the mesmerizing spider Alice has repaid 50 billion tower coins. Unbeknownst to Theo, the more Alice repaid, the more her red aura gradually faded. Unintentionally, Theo was purifying the red aura. At that moment, rumble! Eamdal appeared from the passage where Alice had emerged. Alice, come at me, I the destruction. Kaying. Hey, quickly abandon your body and come here. Eamdal, about to reveal its identity, was interrupted by Blackie. Yes. Following Blackie's instruction, the main body of Eamdal hurriedly transferred its soul to a fragment beside Blackie. Kruger, the destroyer of mountains, seventh seed of the Apostles of Destruction, who has lost her soul. Thanks to this, Sejun gained another field to practice his skill on. Chapter 450. Aileen, do you want to see my face for a moment? Black Tower's administrator area. How dare you try to enter? As long as the great black dragon Aileen Pratani is guarding, you don't stand a chance. Aileen, who had disposed of the Apostle of Destruction fragments attempting to enter the tower, returned triumphantly. At that moment, you have successfully blocked the Apostle of Destruction fragments trying to invade the Black Tower. Successfully defended the Black Tower. Gained 300 billion experience points as a reward for successful defense. You have leveled up. You have obtained 500 bonus stats. All stats increased by 100. Magic power increased by 13,000. The power of darkness increases slightly. Along with the message of successful defense, Aileen leveled up. The level up effect was vastly different from Sejun's. When Sejun leveled up, all he got was one bonus stat and a 10-point increase in strength, but Aileen's level up was spectacular. However, I got stronger again. Aileen, who had widened the gap with Sejun, was only depressed. It was already as hard as catching stars from the sky to see Sejun, and now she had gotten stronger. It seemed like it would now be difficult to even spend 5 seconds together. While Aileen was feeling down, sufficient power of darkness has been gathered. All stats have surpassed 100,000. Magic power has surpassed 300,000. All conditions for awakening have been met. Starting awakening. With the message, darkness swirled around Aileen. No way. I can't meet my Sejun now. Aileen, shocked, resisted fiercely, but this was not something that could be stopped just because she didn't want it. Thus, Aileen was enveloped by darkness. A moment later, the swirling darkness calmed and permeated into Aileen's shadow. You have acquired power, Holy Dragon Strength. Aileen, the youngest in the history of the great dragon race at just 200 years old, successfully awakened. However, it's ruined. Now it's even harder to see my Sejun. I have to practice fire control again, because my magic power got stronger. Aileen was not happy at all. Fire. Aileen broke an egg fruit into a frying pan and started practicing fire control. But, she failed to control the fire with her increased magic power. Whoosh! A huge fire engulfed the frying pan, turning the egg fruit into ashes. Grandpa! Aileen called Kaiser to deal with the egg fruit that had turned to ashes. Green Tower, 93rd floor. 7th seat of the Apostles of Destruction without a soul. Why do they all lack souls? Sejun looked puzzledly at Kruger, the newly appeared Apostle of Destruction. That's not important right now. There's no time for this. The fact that 2 Apostles of Destruction appeared through that passage meant more Apostles of Destruction could appear. I need to close it quickly. Sejun hurriedly ran to the passage and began planting the Destruction Devourer seeds around it. However, due to the power of destruction emanating from Kruger, even though the Destruction Devourers were diligently absorbing the power of destruction, the passage remained. Kyungi, can you put this in the void storage? So Sejun asked Kyungi to put Kruger into the void storage. Kyung. Got it. Kyung. Though Kruger's body was heavy, gigantified Kyungi easily put Kruger's body into the void storage. Kyungi put Alice in too. Thinking about it, if he put the Apostles of Destruction in the void storage, he didn't have to spend time in the Green Tower. Kyung. Got it. Thud. When Kyungi put Alice's body into the void storage. Stamp, stamp, stamp. Pew Hugh Hut, it's a complete gold mine, meow. Meow. If we put them in storage like this, we can stamp them later, meow. As expected, Chairman Park is a genius, meow. Theo, who had been making money by stamping Alice's body, stopped what he was doing and clung to Sejun's knee. Meanwhile, Sejun was diligently planting the destruction devourers. Gulp, gulp. The destruction devourers absorbed the energy of destruction vigorously, reducing the size of the passageway. Tui, tui, tui. Oh my, good job. In the middle of this, they even spat out seeds to Sejun. As Sejun planted more destruction devourer with the seeds he received. Kilahit Kaying. He guys follow me. Yes. K Kuruk. Kiki. Kiki. Blackie appeared with Eamdal and Alice, leading the destruction devourers scattered around. Kaying. Guys eat a lot. Blackie let the destruction devourers have their meal. Kaying. Alice, get down. How dare you try to kill the great Blackie's butler? K Kuruk. Blackie started to scold Alice again. But, Blackie, why are you bullying a weak friend? You should get along well together. Sejun, who found Blackie disciplining the small spider, scolded Blackie. Kaying. She's bad, I'm good. Blackie was upset. However, Kilahit Kaying. Butler, give her a name too. Blackie's mood quickly improved in anticipation of the new name Sejun would give to Alice. Kihit, name her something weirder than mine. It would be great if it was weirder than Eamdal. Blackie and Eamdal, knowing Sejun's terrible nomming skills, looked at him with expectant eyes. Wait a moment. Thus, Sejun's nomming shop opened for business again. Since she's a spider the size of a thumbnail, Iyami. Since she makes a sound like K Kuruk, K Kuruki. Since she's a black spider, add G to G and make it Gigiomi. TL. Both the Korean word for black and the Korean word for spider start with G when romanized. So Giomi means spider, and an additional G is added from the word for black. As expected, Sejun didn't betray their expectations with his nomming skills. Gigiomi seems to be the best, right? Just before Alice's new name was almost confirmed as Gigiomi. Since she's a tiny spider, let's call her Gigomi. TL. Now the name Gigiomi is added with tiny smalls ending part. How about Gigomi? Suddenly inspired, Sejun came up with a not-so-bad name. Kaying. What, that's cuter than mine. It's much better than mine. Blackie and Eamdal were greatly disappointed. While Sejun was nomming Alice, the destruction devourers, who had been eating the energy of destruction, reduced the passageway to a diameter of about 5 meters. Then, rumble. The walls of the passage, weakened by the absorbed energy of destruction, started collapsing in a chain reaction. SSSR. Eventually, the passage quietly closed. And you have achieved the great feat of destroying the passage connected to the outskirts of destruction created by the 9th seat of the Apostles of Destruction, Alice the mesmerizing spider, in the Green Tower. Due to the great achievement accomplished in the Green Tower, the reward is split equally with Ophelia Iorg, the tower farmer of the Green Tower. Ophelia Iorg is your slave. You gain an additional 50% of Ophelia Iorg's share of the reward. As a reward for achieving the great feat, you have obtained the talent, slightly stronger than you look. He received a talent as a reward. Slightly stronger than you look. What kind of talent is this? Sejun quickly checked the talent. Talent slightly stronger than you look. A talent that allows you to appear slightly stronger than others perceive. You can exert ability at 110% of your possessed stats. Oh. With 110% of his stats, it effectively increases all his stats by about 300. I'm totally strong now. While Sejun was delighted with his newly acquired talent, the Green Tower slave tells you in an excited voice that she has achieved a great feat thanks to you. Ophelia, having heard from Brachio that one of the growth conditions for the Green Tower was exceeded thanks to Sejun, spoke to him. When the passage disappeared, the destruction devourers began to absorb the energy of destruction, enveloping the 93rd floor of the tower, creating a gap that enabled communication with other floors. If you're thankful, give 500 tower coins. TL. Original joke is kol gomumyan enus 500 kol 1 enus, which is similar. If you're thankful, give 501. When Sejun made an Earth-style joke. The Green Tower's slave is angry, asking if you're mocking her. Thunk. Ophelia, angry, sent a pouch of money in front of Sejun. The Green Tower's slave tells you to open it. Okay. When Sejun opened the money pouch, it contained 500 billion tower coins. Heh, I made money. As expected, dragons are generous. Sejun praised the dragons while checking the money inside the pouch. Ophelia, clear the floor for me so I can come up to the 99th floor of the tower. The Green Tower slave says she's been keeping it clear since earlier, so go up whenever you need to. Got it, everyone gather around. Sejun gathered his party and had them enter the void storage. Kiki. Half of the destruction devourers were left on the 93rd floor. This was to complete the land deed quest and obtain Mangosteen Tree by removing all the energy of destruction spread throughout this place. Return. When Sejun activated the dragon horn's return bracelet. Wung. The golden letters engraved on the bracelet began to shine. And then, the return magic engraved on the dragon horn's return bracelet is activated, calculating the distance between the current coordinates and the return target coordinates. Returning to the designated location. Sejun disappeared from the 93rd floor of the Green Tower. A moment later, you have arrived on the 99th floor of the Green Tower. So this is the 99th floor of the Green Tower. There are a lot of mugworts planted here, Sejun said, looking around the blue and red mugwort fields where mugwort was planted in abundance. Usually, Ophelia's work style is to plant and harvest immediately, but today she had intentionally left the fields unharvested, knowing Sejun was coming. Kyung. The waypoint is over there. Kyungi, who had flown up to locate the waypoint, informed Sejun of its direction. Thanks. Sejun moved to where the waypoint of the 99th floor of the tower was. Arriving at the waypoint on the 99th floor of the Green Tower, there was no one there as Agni, the boss of the 99th floor, was currently on the first floor roasting sweet potatoes. Taji. The waypoint of the 99th floor of the Green Tower has been saved. Sejun placed his hand on the red crystal, registering the waypoint. Then, congratulations. You have achieved the feat of clearing the Green Tower, following the Black Tower and the White Tower. As an achievement reward, you have obtained the title, the one who reached the summit of 3 towers. As an effect of the title, the one who reached the summit of 3 towers, the waypoints of the 99th floors of the 3 towers are connected. As an effect of the title, the one who reached the summit of 3 towers, the effect of the title, retrogressor activates in the Green Tower as well. Messages appeared. Heh, nice. Sejun smiled contentedly, having obtained the title, the one who reached the summit of 3 towers, allowing him to freely move between the Black Tower, White Tower, and Green Tower. As you cleared the 3 towers, the effect of the title, retrogressor, is enhanced. The increase in all stats for each floor descended is now 2. A message appeared indicating that the effect of the title, retrogressor, had been enhanced, but compared to Sejun's current stats, it was now a very small amount. Time to go home, Ophelia, I'm leaving. Sejun said goodbye to Ophelia and brought up the waypoint list for the Black Tower, pressing the 99th floor. Then, moving to the 99th floor of the Black Tower, Sejun disappeared from the 99th floor of the Green Tower and reappeared on the 99th floor of the Black Tower. Upon arriving at the 99th floor of the Black Tower, the farm was bathed in blue moonlight. It's the blue moon. It was the 15th blue moon Sejun had seen since entering the tower. At that moment, Luna, the god of moonlight, shows favor towards you. Luna, the god of moonlight, bestows upon you the blessing of the blue moon with the moonlight of the blue moon. A message appeared. Blessing of the blue moon. When Sejun checked his status window, the words Blessing of the Blue Moon were written next to his name. And then, clicking. When he clicked on it, Blessing of the Blue Moon. The moonlight of the blue moon protects you. A single line was written. Protects me. Then, Ajax summon. Sejun decided to go big and summoned Ajax. A moment later, Sejun Hyung, I missed you. Thud thud thud. The summoned Ajax ran and hugged Sejun. Oh, I'm fine. There was no pain at all, even with the touch of the awakened Ajax. Thank you, Lunanim. I'll build a monument for you later. Sejun decided to create a monument for Luna. Today's the day. Ahem, Aileen, do you want to see my face for a moment? With newfound courage, Sejun called out to Aileen.